Good evening, everyone. It's the Disrespect Sports Network, Off the Ropes, episode 14, WWE Summerslam review. I'm here with the fellas. We've got Brandon, Kyle, and the professor is back with us tonight. Matt Diggs, welcome back. Guys, can you believe this has been 14 episodes already?
No, I saw that, and I thought that was incorrect. I thought I had to go back and look. I was like, have we really already done 14? But yeah, the time flies. There's been a lot of events this year.
Just time flies when you're having fun, is what I always say. And we're missing one. The coach got summoned to the volleyball court. I guess Matt had done enough volleyball duty, and so now Jeremy is doing volleyball duty tonight. So he couldn't make it, but hopefully we'll get him back for next show. Fellas, how's it going?
Going great. No complaints. Oh, I got some complaints, but no one was there. So.
Brandon's ready already. He's got some complaints.
Matt, are you prepared for this episode, Kyle? You feeling good? You got your notes?
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Yes. Look, I got my notes. I will not make that mistake again of being unprepared. So I have. Look, let's see here. I got all my notes ready to go.
The professor is unrelentless too, Kyle. He does not play around.
No, I actually feel the need to actually compliment Kyle. Because even Kyle, when he's admittedly on his C game, he brings at least B game work. So, I mean, he's always an overachiever.
Hey, I appreciate that. I'll take that as a compliment. I'll take that. Yeah, I was definitely out of my depths with the 5A and 6A, but we're getting back into more of my territory with 4A and 3A and 2A and all that coming up. So it'll be better. It was a bad experience. So I couldn't sleep that night.
We got a show coming up this week. We'll be doing our 4A poll release. So if you're interested in East Texas high school football, 4A, we'll be doing that show Wednesday night at 8:30. Me and Kyle and Brandon's going to join us this week, and also with that CM guy and some guy named Vincent Johnson. I don't know who those guys are, but
I've heard of them.
Yeah, they'll be there.
They're all right.
Yeah, they're okay. They're not cool because they don't talk wrestling. Let's talk some wrestling, fellas. Going to start with off topic here. Got a few topics here to talk about before we go into the pay-per-view review. First topic, the Hurt Profits. Guys, I'm just giving them that name right now. I mean, I'm sure it's going to be the Hurt Business or some sorts of that, but we kind of saw that coming. But what do you guys think? The reaction of the fans, I don't know if they're trying to get them to be a heel team, but the fans loved it.
Yeah, I loved it too. I think that Street Profits have done kind of everything they could do with the gimmick that they've been given. I mean, what else is there for them to do as a team? So I think a heel turn, I think is a good thing. But is it a heel turn because they were getting cheers and Lashley got cheered when he came out? So I don't know if it's going to be a heel faction per se, but I'm excited to see what they do. I think the Street Profits with Bobby Lashley is a match made in heaven. And look at Dawkins with the suit. Dawkins looks good when he can dress up. Yeah. So I'm excited to see what they do with the Street Profits.
Yeah, I really liked it. We've been talking about, hopefully it'll happen. And then they started dropping hints about Bobby and talking to them. And so I think it may be a better move, them being with Bobby, than them doing the turn, per se on their own. It gives them a little, that'll be whatever direction they go, heel or face. I think they're trying to make them, just because, you don't put them in suits and stuff if they're not, that's just a heel move. But like you said, the fans may force their hand, but whatever direction they go, they're going to be, I think it's a good move. Hopefully they put them in a good story. I don't know because the other thing is it going to be with Judgment Day or is it with LWO? That also kind of, they're on SmackDown, I think. So I guess it's got to be LWO, but who knows? With brand split doesn't always matter. So it'll be interesting to see who they feud with them at first.
A little bit of a contrarian view. Again, I'm just feeling the lazy booking here. I mean, basically, we're firing Cedric and Shelton Benjamin and putting in the Street Profits and recycling angles. I mean, what is new here? What element is new? People like Bobby because they love Bobby, and it's like they're craving to get Bobby on the air because he has that it factor. You put him on TV and he pops out, and he gives that element of main event credibility already. And the Street Profits are kind of the same way. They've just been booked badly for almost a year now. I'd almost want to see them have an NXT run just so they can be booked well and actually get to have good matches in the ring. So to me, this has an optimistic view, but at the same time, I'm not trusting WWE booking lately, and I'm not trusting creative right now. So if creative can do something great with this, yes, but you can already see it. The LWO almost feels like it's already run its course after 2 months. It's like they can have one storyline and they're done with it. So what's going to happen here? Is it a good fit? Yeah, it's 3 wrestlers who need to be on TV and need to be showcased, but are not being showcased. And I think the fans are missing them. But at the same time, if you're not going to book them well, what can you do?
What if they keep Cedric and Shelton and just add to the Hurt Business? Like they're adding the Profits to the Hurt Business. I know they kind of broke up the Hurt Business on TV, but if they bring Shelton and Cedric back and then add in the Street Profits with it to make kind of this big faction.
Hey, you need to add Omos as their muscle.
I'm sure he will because MVP's involved. But
get back to Raw Underground, and
I'm not worried about Omos. I'm worried about the people that actually going to be in the ring doing stuff.
Well, but honestly though, where else do you put Omos? He's no good to be.
TV. Put him in catering.
Well, I understand, but at least he wouldn't have to be. He would just be muscle. He can go out there and beat people up. He's good at that. I mean, just make it where he doesn't have to have too many matches.
I actually liked Omos's look on SummerSlam. I know we're kind of pivoting into SummerSlam, but when he came out, just that black and red, it looked very intimidating. I mean, just that look kind of gave me a little bit like, okay, maybe they've done some more marketing on him. So it'll be interesting to see.
Is he tall Omos?
Maybe he's going to be tall Omos to feud with Big Bronson Reed.
The giant Omos.
Oh, gosh. Here we go. All right. So I think we all kind of think, except for Matt, he's kind of not real sure about it, but everyone else thinks
he's cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, it gives them something else to do. So it's a kind of those wait and see type things of how it's going to go. But I like it myself. I think it's going to be something different for the Street Profits. I like them. I like them their music coming out. But again, how long can you keep doing that over and over and over? They've won the titles. They've had feuds with most of the people. So give them a turn here. Add them with Lashley. Lashley's not really doing anything right now. So I'm hoping that they do something that's entertaining with these 3, but I guess we'll see.
I was warning you, Brett. I'm in a bad mood because I was just so underwhelmed by this weekend. So I'm already in a bad mood. So you're going to be throwing these things out and y'all are going to be all positive, loving your wrestling. I'm just going to come on here with a thunderstorm today. Even worse. I feel like I wasted 4 hours of my life after watching SummerSlam. And I'm just mad. Like why do this to me?
Okay. Well, calm down, Matt. Calm down. We're not there yet. Okay. I know you're getting off topic. This is off topic, but you're getting off topic here. Let's tune it back in. We'll let you get. We'll let you.
You're going to throw off the topic things. I'm gonna be mad.
Okay. Well, you should be mad at this next one. No Rhea Ripley on SummerSlam. What?
She was there.
Yeah, but she didn't have a match. She's the women's world champion, and your second biggest pay-per-view of the year. And she's not in a match.
Matt just said it. It was already 4 hours. You want to add Becky and Trish and Rhea and Raquel on there to make it a 5-hour pay-per-view, Tony Khan? I mean,
let's take somebody off. You got to have your women's world title on there.
They had one of them.
Yeah, one.
That's the thing. They got 2 women's titles. They had one of them on there. I mean, I agree. I think you could have taken Shayna and Ronda's match off the card.
What about put your Slim Jim Battle Royal in the pre-show, and then you don't have to watch it
But here's the thing: who would Rhea go against? Raquel? They haven't given that any build. They haven't given it any time to build. Do you just want to throw a random match on screen and blow through it because they didn't build it?
Well, they like doing that.
I know, but that doesn't make it right. But I think that's the reason Rhea didn't need to be on the show. She doesn't need to. She wasn't. I mean, she was needed. Yes, I would have rather had her than Shayna and Ronda's catastrophe that happened. But I mean, what's the point in doing? At least Shayna and Ronda had a build for about a month compared to Rhea.
Well, I'm just throwing it out there. that's not. I think it's not that there was a build here. There wasn't one, but your biggest woman star right now, I would say, is Rhea Ripley. Would anybody disagree with me on that? Like
No.
she's your biggest woman star, and she's not on your summer, biggest party of the summer, and she's not there. That to me, I understand the bill's not there, but that's their fault. They should have built something for SummerSlam. But you can't have a star like that up. Let's just give her the nod off. It's SummerSlam. I mean, she did show up and interfere, which we'll get to that here in a minute. Which I'm angry. I'm angry about that kind of thing. That irritates me about the way that went. But she's got to be on there, right? I mean,
she doesn't have to be. I get what you're saying, but then, so Roman's the biggest star. He's going to take the next 2 pay-per-views off. I mean,
but not SummerSlam. He's on SummerSlam is the main thing I'm talking about. Like if it's Backlash or something like that, I get it. But this is like your number 2 right behind Mania, according to the way WWE sets him up, and she wasn't there. I mean, she was there, but she didn't wrestle.
But there was one thing I did notice. Did you notice that they did they did a lot more of this than they normally do, especially for pay-per-view? They did vignettes, not for the matches, but they did one for Rhea. They did one for Becky. They did one for the only men they did one for was Edge. They did a Liv Morgan one. I thought that was kind of interesting. They did these little extra vignettes of. They did a Rhea it was like a long. It was like they were building up for a match, but they weren't.
You could take out the 10 to 15 minute entrances and the 10 to 15 minute vignettes between each thing, and you could have got more matches on the show. I mean, I kind of just there was so much of that; it was almost too much for me. Like I saw this, I don't need to see this again. I know they're trying to like people that didn't watch or whatever, but we have to have a 15-minute explanation of why Ronda and Shayna Baszler don't like each other, and it's like all this stuff that's built up into here. I get that sometimes, but like it seems like they did over the top this time. Like it was just way too much of that. Like, give me the match. Come on. I mean, this is like Matt said, 4 hours. Come on. I got things I want to do. Like I can't skip through it like you can during the regular week.
And credit Tony Khan and kind of taking a little bit of a pivot. Last couple of pay-per-views, it's been bam, bam, bam. They just go through matches, and there's not the 10-minute vignettes and whatnot. And some of it may be because of Peacock, depending on what version you have. I think those vignettes are replaced by commercials. So it shows you, Brandon, you're paying the money for the more premium version of Peacock.
I didn't see any of those vignettes because I got the cheapest level of Peacock. I got ads.
We did, and we actually just upgraded like last Thursday. Not for WWE purposes, but it worked for WWE too. But it just there's a couple things that extra couple of dollars was worth it. But sometimes just like I don't got time to sit through all these commercials. So.
But that's kind of what I mean. Kind of we're all in agreement. They need to build it and get her on there. I think that's the I guess everyone kind of agrees there.
They should have no one to put her against this time. Like I agree with Kyle.
Yeah, they've got to have somebody there. They've got to do better at building their storylines up to SummerSlam, not WrestleMania. They got to do better because you've got to have somebody built for her, and they didn't have. I mean, you had Becky Lynch. I mean, wow, what could match that
up with Trish?
I know, but you could. I mean, you could have instead of her playing around with Trish over here that Kyle loves so much.
Yes.
What about Becky Lynch, Rhea Ripley? Oh, that would have been a banger of a match.
That would have been fun. Or just even do something like this to kind of your point, Brett, make her put herself on the card and have an open challenge and say, look, I'm going to be on the card. And then even just have a 10-minute banger match, maybe an NXT star or somebody who can just wrestle and maybe Rhea wins still.
Where she's so cocky that she's like, I'm going to throw an open challenge out to anyone that wants to step up. And then, make them – it basically – take somebody that's maybe an up and comer and they go with Rhea Ripley and maybe extend her a little bit. That's not going to bring Rhea down. It's just going to bring that person up. So,
right.
But anyway,
get her on the card.
All right. So number 3, CM Punk, real world champion. What do y'all think about that story? I know Matt wants to talk about this because Collision is his favorite show right now.
Now, I haven't had a chance to watch Collisions. I had to watch this 4-hour crap show.
I haven't watched it yet either.
Yeah, so Well, I mean, that angle started last week, so he may have lost it for all I know because he put it up against Ricky with Ricky the Dragon. Don't be spoiling over. I'm just saying it's possible because I'm a week behind.
Did you really think that he's going to lose it to Ricky the Dragon Steamboat? I mean,
CM Punk's been on a losing streak lately. I mean, he jobs quite a bit. Who knows? I'm feeling that 90s Ric Flair big belt thing going on again with the real world champion. But again, I do believe they're probably building toward that the all-in, the Chicago version of that, maybe the unification match with whoever wins at All Out. So I'm with what AEW does, I give them the benefit of the doubt, and it'll be fascinating to see how this works. Is it the most fun angle? No, but I mean, he's saying, I haven't lost the belt. I've forfeited it, and here I am. Come get it.
I mean, I get the storyline. I get why they're doing it. And it gives Collision and Dynamite both champions on big champions on both brands. And CM Punk's got a good point. He never lost the title. He was never pinned for the title. So he's got a good. I mean, logically it makes sense. So I get why they're doing it. I don't know. I don't know about.
Do you want to see it turn into something, or do you want it to see it like Matt says, combined?
I think it'll be a unification. I don't know if they'll do it as quick as All Out or All In, just because that's in 3 or 4 weeks. I don't know if you want to do that with CM Punk and MJF, because I'm assuming MJF's going to beat Adam Cole at All In. So I don't know if you want to do CM Punk MJF, because these pay-per-views, remember, they're Infinite Wisdom. They are back-to-back weeks. So you have All In London one week, and then the next weekend you got All Out in Chicago. So even whoever wins that All In match, that's a quick turnaround to have a story with CM Punk for unification the next week.
And Samoa Joe called out CM Punk. So I think
Samoa and CM Punk got a lot left in the tank to do before CM Punk worries about MJF right now.
The one thing makes me okay with how they're doing it is because AEW's kind of been consistent with this. This is one of the first men's ones they've had to deal with, but the women's, every time a woman leaves as a champion, they always name an interim champion. They never just give it WWE makes them totally forfeit, but AEW has been consistent where they've always had an interim champion. They didn't technically do that for the men's one because CM Punk left on different circumstances. He didn't leave with an injury, so they kind of skirted that a little bit.
I mean, he was technically injured, Brandon.
Was he?
Hey, Torres.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. He was technically injured. It just happened that there was a fight the same time.
Yeah. But they didn't mention the injury. They didn't mention, where Thunder Rosa was hurt. They mentioned her a lot. They were like, Jamie, when it was Jamie Hayter, she's keeping the title warm. They made sure to mention it. When CM Punk was gone, they never mentioned him.
But even with Thunder Rosa, they had her come out and cut a promo saying that she was relinquishing the title. They never did that with Punk because of the brawl.
Yeah.
So
they weren't. I don't know that they were sure he was ever coming back at one point.
Yeah, that's true too.
But they've been pretty consistent, always having an interim for most of the time. The interim, where WWE doesn't do that. So
I don't like the interim. I don't like it. If somebody's going away for an injury for a long time, take the title off of them. I mean, there's somehow they do it in WWE where they come out the next night and get beat up and then lose the title because they're injured. Do something like that. Don't just. I don't like to just giving it up to have an interim title. That's not a real champion.
The belt
or you just be like Roman Reigns and only defend the belt twice a year.
That's a good work schedule.
The belt to me reminds me, and it doesn't really exactly like it, but it reminds me of the NWO belt where Hogan had it spray painted. He had the NWO spray paint on it. So now it's kind of spray painted with that accents. Conveniently, it's across the E, fellas, for Elite.
Where would you have put it, Brett?
Hey, it could have been across the whole thing.
To be symmetrical, yeah. Where else would he have put it? He's not going to put it over the A.
But does that mean something? Because it's the Elite he doesn't get along with. He X'd out the E.
I've
heard rumors that's kind of why, and it's going to lead to something later with them at some point. So
they will meet later. They're going to do business. They'll meet later, but I don't think this X across the E in All Elite Wrestling has anything to do. I mean, I think he did it for looks. I mean, it's the middle of the belt. That's just me. I don't think it has anything to do with it.
All right, y'all ready to talk about this pay-per-view? Go ahead.
What do we do with the women's tag titles now that Sonya Deville, I don't know if y'all heard, she tore ACL. So she's on the shelf. They just gave the titles. These are worthless titles. Just
They're
burn
cursed.
them. Burn them. There's no sense in having the women's titles. They are absolutely worthless. So why even have? That's my opinion.
It's like
Get rid of them.
they're bad luck, Kyle. You had every time you get either someone gets hurt or their partner turns on them here. The last 3 to 4 people that have had the belts. You had Liv Morgan, she got hurt. Then you had Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey. They turned on each other. Now we got another one that's injured. I mean, I don't know what you
I'm
do.
sure Raw will have a fatal 4-way tag match. SmackDown will have a fatal 4-way tag match, and at Payback we'll get a women's tag championship match.
Do we have 16 women on the roster?
No, that's okay. So maybe
you got to bring some from NXT. You got to bring
maybe
some
a tag team of both. Yeah,
we're gonna make Bianca and Io a tag team now. Just
that's the thing too, though. They got rid of the NXT titles when they combined them with the main roster titles. So yes, you could bring up all that, or the tag title. I don't know how many tag teams are on NXT. I don't watch NXT, but you could bring those up to compete on Monday and Friday as well and be involved in this. I personally, though, just forget about them. Just leave them vacant right now while Sonya is injured.
Yeah, I feel bad because like at first I didn't like the Sonya and Chelsea Green gimmick, but the more they had it, they kind of fed off each other, and it was actually good for both of them.
It grew on me.
Yeah, and so I feel bad that they put all that work into that gimmick because they really, I mean, I don't know how long the build's been on their gimmick, but when they first started doing it, it was kind of like, I don't know if this is going to work because did they fit? But the longer they were a tag team, finally they were so annoying together that they were good for each other, type deal. And so I when they got it, I was like, okay, at least there's somebody that's a legitimate. They've been a tag team. It's not 2 women they just threw together and like, okay, you 2 are a tag team. You 2 are a tag. I don't like that random throwing together. The only way to do that correctly is the way AEW did it, where you draw the names and there's a reason why they're randomly together because they're being paired together. We saw some good pairs with that, and they were able to tell some stories off of that. But the way
baby.
Exactly. So the way they were able to do that is great. But when WWE says, okay, these 2 women are okay, you 2 are faces, okay, you 2 are a team. You 2 are heels, okay, you 2 are a team. Like I don't like that, and I like your thing, Kyle. I think for now, you just kind of let them sit, see how it goes, and then if you have the right amount of tag teams that you can put together, and maybe you have a tournament or something, I would just maybe at some point. But
I would have put them on Caden Carter and Casey Catanzaro.
I like them. I do like them.
But it's a little late.
They could do that as a tournament. They could, have maybe have 8 teams and you have matches that build on each other. It gives them meaning, which is some of the things I don't like about WWE. Like, you put a match on TV that means something, like, okay, you can advance in a tournament, move up. And there may be some of those teams you're like, I know they're not going to win, but you have to, at least they give them some airtime and have a meaningful match. So if anything, I would like to see the tournament.
I think it would be worthless at this point, but I mean, you got to do it somehow as far as that goes. And even just kind of, I'm not going to go through the history of the women's championship, but I remember when Bayley and Sasha first got it, and I was so excited because their whole gimmick was that we're going to go to NXT and we're going to wrestle everybody, and then it doesn't matter. And it was kind of taboo back then, and they started showing up places. And then I think that's what Sasha and Trinity, or whatever she used to be, wanted to do when they got the titles, and then they bolted because of the creative thing. And I would love to see like Casey and Caden or something where they're just showing up on any show and putting on good matches and just do something, as opposed to this whole, we're just going to have nothing going on with that. I mean, it's worse than mid-card status when you don't even have that deep of a women's division, and it's basically a mid-card kind of a title as it is. So very frustrating all around, but WWE has done this to themselves.
Yeah. All right, let's talk the pay-per-view, guys. As much as Matt is so excited about that 4 hours he watching it this weekend, I'm interested to see if his thoughts are kind of some. I mean, I honestly, just talking about the overall pay-per-view, I was very disappointed overall. I think there was some good spots. To me, it started off hot, and then it just it went downhill. The opening match, Ricochet and Logan Paul. man, there was some incredible spots. Of course, we talked about how well we thought this match, the two of them, the highlight of the night. I told you guys that's the new thing. I don't know. Was it Brandon? Was it you that texted that? So, because we talked about it last show, like the nicknames, and we talked about Big Bronson Reed, and we talked about all the names, and now every time Ricochet comes out, it's going to be the highlight of the night. That's a really long one and very kind of annoying. I'm already tired of it, and it's just been like a few weeks they've been doing it, but it was a very good match. Talk about picking one to start and get the crowd hot. I mean, the crowd was on fire for it. There was incredible moves in there. I mean, it was, and we kind of all figured, Ricochet has been kind of the guy where he goes out there and puts on a good match and loses, and we were all correct on that one.
Nope.
Well, wait, we're not all correct.
Yep,
I forgot.
I was almost right. I almost spoiled all y'all's.
Mr. brought his notes. He didn't bring the notes on Logan Paul.
I did though. Listen, first off, I think the overall pay-per-view, I think what hurt the pay-per-view was the crowd in Detroit. They sucked. They were horrible. I've heard high school football stadiums that hold 2,000 people be louder than that 50,000 plus that were there in attendance. It was atrocious. If I'm WWE, I'm not bringing a major pay-per-view back to Detroit until they can prove they're better. That was horrible.
But was it 50,000? Are they?
It was 50. It wasn't 59.
Yeah, I heard they fudged the numbers quite a bit.
They always do. Yeah, they always do.
It actually looked like it didn't sound like a big crowd, but it looked like a big crowd.
But they were quiet as a church mouse. I don't understand.
The first match.
Well, no, the first match they were hot, but as they got later in the night, they just died out. Very fun opening match though. Logan Paul, we talked about it when we did the 30 under 30. And I was kind of arguing on why he was in there. He proved it. He proved why he was in that top. I mean, he is fantastic in the ring. Ricochet, this to me was the best that Ricochet has looked in the ring in his main roster stay on WWE. I thought he did great. We're definitely going to get a rematch because of how it ended with the Brass Knucks win. I don't know. Payback seems like a great time to do it.
Hey, sign me up for it right now.
Yeah, I think it'll be great. Overall, great match though. My favorite spot was when Logan did that moonsault off the rope and Ricochet caught him, and you thought Ricochet was going to do something. Logan turned it into a tornado DDT. Just freak athleticism by both of them. And I don't know. I saw on TikTok afterwards, WWE posted Samantha Irvin. She hated saying Logan Paul was the winner. She was.
Oh, her face was priceless.
Yeah, I think that added
some memes. There should be some memes of her face somewhere.
Yeah, and like I said last week, that adds something to the feud for me when you kind of make it personal like that. So I'm interested. I'm interested in the rematch. Give it to me. I think it'll be at Payback, and I think early prediction: Ricochet gets his victory at Payback over Logan Paul.
Okay, we heard it here. Kyle said it here
first.
All right.
Yeah, I thought it was a really good match, and I was expected to be there. There were a couple, the one I did like, Logan kind of played into it right, even coming out. He went and kissed his girl while looking at Samantha, and I thought that was pretty funny. And then, but during the match, Logan Paul, he had to, as great as he was and is, he had some misses. The first time I've really seen him, you kind of saw some rust, not immaturity, but like ring immaturity from him. You saw some flaws from him where in a couple of those, like the one was the standing moonsault. Well, he's really tall. And so I don't think Ricochet was in the right spot there. So you saw some misses there. And the last time they were in the ring together, it was more people, but it was the Money in the Bank, and they had some misses too. So they're still working on that chemistry. But he's still, he's just been so good so quickly, but he's still very young in the ring. And so there were some misses, but it was still overall a great match. I love that spot you said, the DDT one, and then the frog splash. He did the springboard frog splash. That was awesome. And then the Ricochet one that stood out to me was it hit the cutter off the top he did. And the funny thing about the whole Brass Knucks thing is Michael Cole's like, who's the goof in the baseball cap? So we gotta teach Cole who these guys are. The Logan Paul's entourage, but other than that, I thought it was a good match. And then Logan, jetted Dallas and was still in his ring gear, celebrating with his brothers.
I'm sure WWE liked that because then they get to give them more notoriety because he's still in his gear.
Yeah, and who the announcer afterwards even mentioned it. What's Ariel, whatever Helwani, he even like brought it up, and they talked about the match. So on a big boxing pay-per-view, so that was pretty good for WWE too.
All right, Matt, break it down for us.
So you got Washington, D.C., 250th anniversary of the United States, and we're going to have a fireworks show, of course. And you're sitting there and you're watching the fireworks, and it's like bam and bam. You're like, okay, I'm enjoying this, and then all of a sudden, just some, Uncle Sam looking person comes out with a little sparkler thing. And this is your grand finale. We got the Uncle Sam and the sparkler and says good night to you. And you're just like looking at this like, what just happened here? And I'm not going to be recollective in a positive way or reminiscent in a positive way of the spot y'all mentioned because of the ending being so bad. With these guys, it's almost like you think of the whole 5-star versus 4.5-star match. It built, and it got crazy as far as that goes. But there was a crescendo and like a finality to it. This was just like, but it was building, and I was kind of watching it, exciting, and just ended horribly for me. And I don't care why they're doing it. They had a chance to have at least a 4-star match, and then they just had the Uncle Sam with the little sparkler here for the ending. I can't forgive them for that. I just can't forgive them.
I will agree with Matt. I didn't like the ending.
So it's like the screwdriver in the Omega Ospreay match.
It's worse because it wasn't even on fire.
I didn't like the ending. That was my first initial thought after the match was this was too good of a match for it to end that way. Like I didn't like the way it ended. I don't think it needed to end with Logan Paul cheating, but I think the reason they did that is to set up another match with him. But that doesn't mean I agree with it. I understand why they did it, but I don't like how that ended.
I feel like we talk about this a lot. Like the WWE's their easy scapegoat out is let's do some kind of cheating finish, slimy finish, and that's their easy way out of matches. And even if there's rules, we don't have to abide by them, and we'll talk about that here shortly. But
you write Ricochet a promo where he basically goes out there after losing clean to Logan Paul and says, you know what, I underestimated him. Even with all of this, I underestimated him, and you can even give him montages for a couple of weeks where he's getting better and he's practicing in the gym and he's watching tape and, he's talking to, you even get like the Chad Gable in there and getting some technical tips or whatnot. And then you have a second match, and then maybe he beats him in that second match because he gets, you can lose clean and still write a storyline to get better without having to do something slimy like that and ruin the match.
It's lazy booking. I mean, it's what it is. I mean, it's, to me, you just we can just do this and get a second match out of it. Easy way. Oh, he cheated. Now I get to rematch him. I mean, is that how many times we see that? I mean, we see it all the time. But yeah, it's a consistent thing. But yeah, I think and Kyle's right. The crowd, and that's why I said it went from you went to this peak, and my peak was the LA Knight win in the Battle Royal. Once that match was over, the crowd went, and then just the rest of the night it seemed to be, I don't know if it was just they couldn't replicate it just because they were so fired up to see LA Knight. Because honestly, if you think about it, if you're WWE, that's what you probably should have ended on if you're going to get that pop in LA. I mean, the way you go off a show.
It didn't help that following LA Knight, we had to have a MMA fight between Shayna and Ronda. That didn't help matters. That made that little sparkler. It kind of just fizzled out. That was
there wasn't a sparkler. They were out of sparklers.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go to the next match. Then we had Brock Lesnar and Cody Rhodes. Guys, this match was actually, to me, it was better and longer by probably double than what I thought it was going to be. I think we kind of discussed that we thought this would be the normal, okay, Brock gets his moves in, Cody gets his moves in, and then Cody wins. But it was a really long match. I actually am curious to see if I can find how long it was. but I feel like it was maybe 15 to 20 minutes just by feeling wise. So I honestly like this match more than I thought I was going to. I thought it was going to be just like we talked about. Lesnar, it was the same type of match though, because Cody got his moves in, then once Lesnar started just beating him down, and of course, the gripe I have in this match, and it's going to be several times in this pay-per-view. Kyle probably knows where I'm going with this. Did we ever have a no DQ mentioned in this match?
No.
Can we use the steel steps in a regular match now without being disqualified with the referee watching us use them?
Not only can you use steel steps, but then you can get a rope break following that after you use steel steps. So yeah,
that's what bothers me about this match. I don't understand why I get it. They knocked the ref down. That happens every Roman Reigns match. We know that
the ref wasn't down.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. At least in those matches, I can at least they can cheat because the ref's not watching. The ref was literally watching them use the steel steps.
He saw him hit with the steps and goes, "Oh,
I mean,
match."
That's a DQ. I mean, why do we even have rules in wrestling if we just can do what we want? Okay, well, we don't need no DQ matches. Every match is a non-disqualification match. Okay, at least make it that way. If you're gonna have rules, you gotta enforce them and use them in your storyline. Like, to me, this is terrible. Like, I'm glad this feud is over. It was a little strange that Brock Lesnar went up and shook his hand and raised his hand here. Like, okay, so we still don't know why you attacked him. Were you just testing Cody Rhodes? Were you like trying to see how much you could get out of him to try to build him up for Roman Reigns? I still don't know, but like, he was okay with losing. He just raised his hand at the end. Guys, I don't know. I'm frustrated. I like the match more than I did, but I don't like the way it went down personally. What do you guys think?
Real quick why I didn't like the whole stairs thing. Why isn't it DQ? Also, I agree. But to play devil's advocate, people all the time in no DQ matches throw people into the stairs, and there's nothing ever called. And like, I don't know if it's considered it's part of the ring, but once you pick them up, is it no longer part of the ring?
And that's a weapon. Once you pick them up.
So that's why I agree with y'all. But just to play devil's advocate is like, I don't know if that's their logic. Is people use stairs in no DQ matches all the time.
They don't have logic, Brandon. They don't have logic. Come on, let's be real. There's no logic. I mean,
stairs are used in matches all the time. Normally, you're just throwing them into them, and that's never called.
Well, here's my question too. So, obviously, if it's a regular match, you can't just throw people through tables, right? Because if you throw them through a table, that's a disqualification.
Unless it's the announcer's table.
Announcer's table, okay.
So an F5 through the table. Through the announce table is also not a disqualification. I'm unsure on what all these rules are. But as far as this match, the feud or whatever, it's been rinse and repeat for weeks. Brock will come out, he'll attack Cody. Then Cody will come back the next week and he'll do the whoa, and then he'll come out in a suit, and then the same thing next week. It'll just rinse and repeat. It's been doing the same thing over and over and over and over again for months, and I was over it. So the match was more the same. It was Brock just beating up Cody for the whole first 12 minutes of the match, and then Cody, his miraculous victory against all odds. He had to fight adversity, pal. Yes, great. He won. Awesome.
Wasn't it better? Was it better than you thought it was going to be, though? Or did you just not?
I'm going to be honest with you. After Brock F5 Cody through the table and Cody beat the 10 count, I was like, I'm over this. This is
it's Matt cheat codes.
Entertained.
It's Matt cheat codes. Remember, you can put your cheat codes in. You can go through 18 tables and still survive.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't a fan of this feud to begin with. This Saturday's match, maybe it was better, maybe it wasn't. I don't know. I wasn't entertained by it at all. But I did like at the end Brock shaking Cody's hand. From what I've heard, that was unplanned. That wasn't part of Brock did that on his own. So I think that, like him or not, like what he does in the ring or not, Brock's kind of a gatekeeper for WWE. And I think Brock shaking Cody's hand, maybe it does in this feud because now Cody has earned Brock's respect. And maybe that's all Brock wanted at the beginning. Then freaking tell us that 3 months ago. Like, it's not that difficult. But I hope this is over. I have a bad feeling that it's not, but I hope that it's over. But
they build it as like the last. I mean, they even mentioned it. But I know that doesn't mean anything.
How many times have we heard last whatever, and then we see them in the ring next week?
And we got payback next month, you know.
But it was, like the way it ended after the match, like with the I don't see how they go back to. But you never know.
I think you're right, but I don't trust WWE.
But I have a few notes here. So the match went way longer than most Brock matches because Brock's having wardrobe malfunctions. He's not used to being in a ring that long. His shorts barely stood up. They almost didn't stay on. And then another what was the crowd for the no countouts thing was that was the one time they got loud, but it was hey, there's not going to be a count. Like it was kind of weird how they did that. And then the other thing I got this is for Matt and Kyle. The lady behind Cody's mom, does she have soft toes and would it matter?
I'm gonna be honest, I didn't see the lady behind him.
She went viral very quickly.
I'll have to hold on. Matt, you can go ahead and answer. Let me do some.
I'll talk you Google, but be careful with that Googling. You get in trouble for that. Yeah, I was reading. I didn't get a chance to read the dirt sheets when I'm so far behind on wrestling. I try to avoid some of those things. But what I was seeing effectively, I saw a lot of people have praise for this match, and I didn't really get the praise for the match. A lot of people were saying this is the best match of the night, and maybe something's got to be the best match of the night. I appreciate that, but I was completely underwhelmed by this. Y'all talk. I mean, even you, Brett, were getting into this. Oh, it went 15 minutes. I was so impressed. That's because they spent 8 minutes playing the count-out game. I mean, how much time can you kill? Like, go do one move, slowly get back in the ring, and count to 10 slowly. Okay, we've wasted 45 seconds. Let's do this 7 more times. Like at what point do you just?
I mean, I didn't say it was the best match of the night. I thought of the 3 matches that they had, it was the best one.
The bar was very low.
I know it was low. That's what I'm saying. It was low, but to me, it was the best one, and I had no. Honestly, coming in this match, I was like Kyle. I had really no interest in it. I was ready for this feud to be over. But the underwhelming card in general, I mean, this match actually was one of the matches that exceeded my expectations. Again, the expectations were low, but I just thought that they did a good job in this match of at least making it a little bit of a fight. Like, I feel like the other ones, it was just kind of like, 10 minutes, we're done. And we're out, but at least they kind of. I mean, it was their way of extending the match. The count out stuff, I understand the frustration. It is a slow playing the match. I get it, but at least Brock. That's probably the longest that Brock has been in the ring in I don't know how long. Usually his matches do not last that long at all. So, to me, I was just impressed with the two. The feud's hopefully over and we move on. But I just thought of the 3 matches, it was the best one in my opinion.
I actually had high hopes for this match. I don't know why, because Brock, when he wants to, has had a couple of decent matches in the last couple of years. Cody, we know he can go. So I thought put them together and you might have it. But for whatever reason, they, instead of just letting them wrestle and grapple and do things, they did this whole underdog resiliency storyline within the match. I just don't think it worked. I think it was very boring and very predictable and very formulaic. I did not like the match. It did not meet my expectations. Brett, you were talking about how you thought it actually exceeded. No, not for me. I was highly disappointed.
Expectations were pretty low, Matt. I mean, your expectations sound like you were expecting a lot more than I was.
I mean, I think I would rather seen Omos and Brock again, because at least there you have the storyline. Can he do it? Can he pick him up? Can he do it?
He done ran Kyle off with that one.
I mean,
you might as well said Big Bronson Reed there, Matt.
Completely underwhelmed. I can't wait for that Omos Big Bronson Reed match, but completely underwhelmed.
And since this is one of them, why was half of the card a main event?
Oh, we had 4 main events.
Out of 8 matches.
Yeah, I know. I feel like that we're just gonna have the whole card's gonna be a main event for too long.
And one was the second match of the night, and the other 3 were the last 3. But everything was the main event.
I was like, we have 4 main events, and I'm like,
that's half.
If they would have got Rhea on there, she would have had to been a main event too. So
yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Okay. All right. On that match, let's see. We all had Cody Rhodes, so we all picked up the win on that one. We've got, and that was one of the things that Jeremy wanted me to mention. I talked to him a little bit earlier, and he knew Kyle was going to be frustrated with this. And I would agree. The whole the cheating stuff, and then what's the rules, or do we have rules? That was his point. So, Kyle, good job. You didn't even know, but you were able to.
I got you, Jeremy. I got you.
Because we talked about it. I was the same. I'm the same way. I don't like that. But something I did like is they finally LA Knight with the win. Talk to me, Kyle.
Freaking Omos, man. That's the one. I was right before the match started. Ding, ding, ding. I was like, yes. Then I heard MVP's voice. I said, oh no. I put my hands in my head like this. I said, oh no. And then the 7'3" Nigerian giant, Omos. I said, good. I immediately grabbed my phone. I said, damn it, Brandon. Yeah, you put that bad juju out here, and now he's in the match.
And then I was like, he's gonna win it. And I'm glad he didn't.
I didn't think he was going to win it, but WWE did the right thing finally, giving LA Knight the win. But here's my issue with it. Now what? He won the Slim Jim Battle Royal. What now? Does he get a lifetime supply of Slim Jim?
He better go to Austin Theory. We need that match.
We could book that, but what is Vincent Kennedy going to do? Probably not that.
Maybe he's on administrative leave, like I've heard.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if he's on administrative leave. He can zoom in and still run the show. That means absolutely nothing. Anyway,
it's medical leave, so I don't know.
Doesn't matter. Anyway, the LA Knight, I'm glad he won. I kind of thought at the end that AJ Styles might win it. I thought they might give it to AJ Styles. And then, unfortunately, Karrion Kross ripped him off the apron. So now we're going to have that feud continue.
He's like an anchor pulling AJ Styles down.
Who wanted that? I don't know. But and then when it was Sheamus and LA Knight, I really enjoyed them giving Sheamus and LA Knight the opportunity to fix the botch they had the night before. Loved it. LA Knight hit it perfectly. The right person won, but that's my only concern is what now? Where does he go from here? What was the point of him winning the battle royal if you're not going to do anything with him?
Well, because they didn't say the winner gets
nothing.
Slim Jim.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
What is it? That's the problem I have with that. Like, if this would have been a AEW battle royal, then there would be something the winner gets.
Yeah,
there would be something. And we have a battle royal for why, Matt? Why do we have this battle royal?
To get LA Knight on
to get LA Knight a win on there, and they did that. So I guess mission accomplished. This was my first fast forward match. I was just click every 30 seconds, see who's left. See who got eliminated and click that 30-second thing again. I mean, even though I was excited for it, I did watch the Sheamus ending as far as that goes. And I was excited to see LA Knight win. I think it was probably the highlight of the crowd. You're talking about how dead the crowd was. I think that was probably the peak for them. And at the end of the day, you just got to give credit. They did find a way to get LA Knight. He's now 1-1 in cross-branded promotions. He's not good with Mountain Dew, but he is good with Slim Jim back for that Royal Rumble loss. But hey, what can you do? Yeah.
Talk to me, Brandon.
Kyle touched on my point about that. I love that they made a watch from Friday and did the exact same spot, and Sheamus actually leaned up this time like he's supposed to. And then y'all talk about Theory being next, but I didn't know until later in the show that Theory was in this match. I totally missed him in this match. I never once saw him, but then later in the show they brought it up that he was eliminated at a certain point, and I was like, I once saw Theory in this match.
I mean,
they kept bringing up. I guess I'm missing some stuff on Raw. They kept bringing up these things about. It's like I haven't seen Chump in forever, but apparently he has some feud with Bronson Reed that I had no idea about until the other night. So.
Yeah, they've got some weird thing going on with Shinsuke, Ciampa, Bronson Reed. It was somebody else that was involved. Who was the other one that was involved in that? There's kind of been a
Shinsuke and Ricochet.
Ricochet was in it. Yeah. It was kind of like this weird thing where they each wanted to fight the other one, then the other one would come out and interfere and cost them to win. And so it's been kind of this weird, I want to say love triangle almost type situation. We had a
I guess that's been my nap matches or bathroom breaks or something. I don't know.
yeah. Well, and I like Tommaso Ciampa. I'm hoping that him and Johnny Wrestling come back together and do form a tag team. I think that would be DIY, bring them back. I think that would be awesome. Because I love their, and honestly, their feuds in NXT were some of the best matches when I used to watch them. When Gargano and Ciampa went at it, they had some really some of the best matches. I thought they were going to kill each other type matches. So he's underutilized as well, but I honestly didn't even notice Austin Theory was in the match either. When I was watching it, I think I just happened to see him, but they didn't. He's the United States champion, but they didn't even spotlight him. So I'm like, what does the belt even mean anything? Like, you've got the problem is you've got Gunther that's got this prestigious intercontinental championship, and like they're showcasing it. It means a lot. So they're supposed to be the same level, but do you even put them on the same level right now? I mean, the United States champion to me is low card, and Gunther's like mid, right below Roman Reigns. I mean, I just don't understand what they're doing with him, because we talked about Theory's matches, and every time he's in a match, what does he do, Kyle, to win?
He cheats.
And that's the only way.
Means.
Yeah, he never gets to win clean, which I think that hurts somebody after so long. It's like kind of like the Miz. The only way the Miz would ever win would be cheating. He's kind of that's who he reminds me of right now.
Yeah, I said that LA Knight and Theory next, but like that's the thing is they could have I didn't know Theory was in the match. They should have did some kind of tease toward it. Let LA Knight throw Theory out or something, at least or some kind of. But they were never at the same part of the ring together. No, because I was watching LA Knight the whole match. I never saw Theory.
I saw Theory in there, and then I wondered, why is he in the match? Like, why are you having a champion in the match? There's no way he looks good unless he wins, and you're not going to have him win because for what? For who? So why have a champion in the match? I didn't like that.
They should just put the belt on the line. Let's have a battle royale for the United States Championship. Make the match mean something. At least,
I think LA Knight gets a lifetime supply of Slim Jim and maybe a commercial.
He did get a commercial. Him and Bianca got one
right after the battle royale. I was like, oh, they already had this locked and loaded,
and it was their largest single match sponsorship ever, $7 million.
They're making money hand over foot.
He's got
so Slim Jim, Off the Ropes is looking for a sponsorship. we don't need quite that much, but we can do some. We can do some spots.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll look if they want to do the battle royal next year for some event, and it's the Slim Jim battle royal. I volunteer to represent Off the Ropes in the battle royal for Slim Jim.
Hey, I think we should just have that flaming barbed wire tables match between Professor and the coach.
But can I be the referee for that?
You have to get knocked down. Remember, you can't see what's going on.
I can sell. I'll
be the Professor's like Chase U section.
Oh man, I think our segment might be more entertaining than the actual wrestling product right now. So I might, never know. All right, so like I said, LA Knight, biggest pop of the night. Glad he got the win. We all picked him, which it was kind of obvious. I think at this point, if you don't, was it one of those things? If you don't put him over and let him win there, everyone's going to riot.
We riot. It's another Malice in the Palace in Detroit if LA Knight would have lost.
So anyway, so now that we're up to the next match, it's the MMA fight that Kyle's been waiting for. Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey. And I'm just going to say up front as we run Kyle off the air, there were some strikes. It's just me and Brandon now.
Yeah.
Wow, okay. So there were some strikes in this match. Yeah, okay. The strikes in this match looked nasty, guys. Like they were hitting on some of the head kick. Ooh, man,
there was 2 hard hits, and I think it was a receipt. I don't think Ronda was supposed to connect with Shayna like she did on that head kick.
Oh my God! I thought that was going to knock her out.
I don't think Shayna was supposed to connect with the knee to the face like she did with Ronda. I think that was a receipt back to Ronda.
I'm I mean, that was my favorite parts of the match. Was those? I was like, those are legit. Okay, now we're talking. Let's get some MMA really going on out here.
Well, yeah, I had high hopes for it. Like you said, I had high hopes for this match. I talked last week how it was going to be. I was excited for it. It fell absolutely flat. The crowd, I don't know if there was a crowd there. I didn't hear them the entire match. Worst match of the night, in my opinion. It's also hard to watch an MMA stipulation within a choreographed wrestling ring like that.
Well, then they can just roll out of the ring when they need a break. There's no cage. They should at least made it in the cage.
They should have had a fight pit.
They should have brought the cage. Yeah, brought the cage down, put them in a cage. That way, at least you can't run away.
Yeah, it didn't come off well because we know MMA. That's those men and women are real. They will knock you out and not think twice. So going into it, I even said it last week on the preview show. I think this is a way.
Justin Gaethje is a bad man.
Yeah, I thought this was a way to get Ronda kind of, if she was making that UFC return, to kind of get her in the ring and spar on a big stage with Shayna Baszler, her best friend. Did not come out that way. Shayna wins. I think what WWE wanted was Ronda to put Shayna over. I think Ronda's star power has faded immensely in WWE. I don't think it did what WWE thought it was going to do. I don't think this makes Shayna look any better. It certainly doesn't make Ronda look like anything. I would throw this stipulation out of WWE. Let's not try this ever again. It didn't work.
Did you notice that they talked about that Ronda had never been submitted in WWE? Like they made a point to say that before the match. And I was like, well, they just told us she's going to get submitted. I mean, it was pretty obvious that why would they say that? And then, she got submitted and tapped out or basically put out of the ring forever. I mean, I don't know that she comes back after this. I think she's kind of done her run, and I guess we'll see if she goes over to the UFC. I mean, Brandon, Matt, what do you guys think about this one?
Yeah, it wasn't very good, and the crowd was dead on that, but it's really dead for this match because also like WWE fans, not all of them are UFC fans, so they're just very interested from the beginning, and then it just didn't go anywhere. It just wasn't. I mean, it looked awkward. It didn't work, and like Kyle said, I kind of got excited with it because of the build, but this was I know y'all were our list Matt was disappointed with a lot of matches. This was the only match I was really disappointed with because it was the only one that was less of than I thought it was going to be. Where other ones I didn't have high expectations, so they, kind of overachieved. Where this one was, I thought a little bit. I thought it might be better than it was, and it was not good.
It's like I'm expecting a 2-star card, and I got 2.5. Woo! But again, I'm having high expectations because WWE is supposed to be this multi-million-dollar, juggernaut, billion-dollar juggernaut as far as that goes. And this match, it is what it is as far as that goes. Crowd was dead. I didn't hate the match. I mean, they tried something, it didn't work. I think their failure was the storyline. I mean, I would have liked to see Shayna and Ronda revigorate the tag title and maybe held it for a year, and then it maybe blow it off at WrestleMania. But again, bad booking, lazy booking. I guess maybe they had a timeline they had to get this done. She gave them the 2-month notice, and they blew it off in 2 months. And kind of is what it is. And I think you could have had many better matches at SummerSlam to replace this. Rhea versus Ronda. Maybe have Rhea take out Ronda and retire her or something. But it is what it is.
Yeah, I think overall I didn't care for the match either. The main spots, the knee to the face, the kick to the head were my favorite parts of this match, honestly, because it was they're actually gonna really hurt each other. You could see the swelling on the face, it was legit. I was like, oh, that's cool, but then the little weak tap out thing, I'm not a fan of it.
I missed the tap out. I don't know what I was doing. I saw
you're probably asleep.
She didn't tap out.
Drowsy.
She didn't tap. She just passed
out. Right. Yeah.
Well,
but I mean, I didn't. I saw Shayna put her in the Karafuda clutch, and I was like, okay. And then I just thought, okay, she's gonna reverse it or something. I looked away or something. Then I heard ding, ding, ding. I was like,
it was very odd.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe those kicks in the knee hurt more than what it could have been cut. They could have hurt more than what we know. I mean, because look, I honestly, I was in shock. I was like, oh crap, was that supposed to be that? I mean, because you could hear those. Like usually,
I think that was a receipt. I think it was a receipt.
and so I kind of wondered if that's why the match got cut short like that, Kyle. I mean, it could have been that, one of them took it a little bit harder and they had to cut it short. I don't know.
I think both of them having an MMA background, they knew that was a possibility that could happen going into. I don't think it cut the match short. I think the match went as planned. I think it was just poor planning, poor booking, poor execution, poor everything.
And if you allow me to go on like a 1 minute rant, hopefully it won't be something you're going to typecast here at some point.
Yes.
So we are dealing with a $1 billion company that should have professional storyline writers. And there have been matches in NXT. I know Kyle doesn't watch NXT with Shayna and maybe even Bianca before Bianca got elevated, where like Shayna would keep people in the Caribou clutch for like 3 to 4 minutes. I mean, it was an ongoing kind of a thing, and she had to work them down and fight them, and they rally back and they get the ropes and she'd keep going. And now we have like a 45 seconds to submit Ronda. I mean, if you're going to have a move and it's going to have different intensities and different levels of that, you need to have that kind of routed and kept your receipts on it so you know kind of how to do it. And so, again, that was a disappointing thing for me, given the fact that other people have lasted longer in the Caribou clutch than Ronda, who is supposed to be this big MMA star.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. Maybe she's not as tough as anymore. She just can't hack anymore, Matt. It's time for her to move on. Like, maybe that's...
Well, she can't be the toughest because she's not the EST of WWE.
Oh, well, yes. That's true.
Who proved her toughness? Oh, my. Let me tell you. We'll get to it.
Yeah. Well, speaking of toughness, the next match we've got, talking about some aggressiveness, some hard hitting. And we talked about this one being hard hitting and aggressive. Gunther over Drew McIntyre. We all knew that was going to happen before the match. But, I mean, match overall, it was very average to me. I like the hard hitting style, but to me, when I can tell you and I could go put $1 million trillion on the winner, and I know it's going to be a certain person, it's hard for me to get into those kind of matches. Like, I knew there's no way Drew McIntyre is winning this match. I don't think he's got a long-term contract at WWE. Honestly, if I'm him, I'm going to AEW because they haven't done anything with him really. He was there, I guess, the COVID champion when there was no fans. He kind of got pushed at the wrong time for him and really hasn't really recovered. I mean, they just don't know what to do with him. You've got this. When he started come out with the sword, I started losing it. I'm like, why are you bringing the sword? Are they gonna let you use the sword in the ring? Come on, this whole thing.
Who knows? We don't have disqualifications.
Yeah, just so you can behead somebody now. That's part of the rule.
Hey,
you have,
as long as they down for that 3 count, we're good.
And the Mania Kyle and I went to, he chopped the ring in half.
You're just looking for things when you start adding things like that to the character. You can't use a sword. Come on now. There's no reason. I can see a baseball bat because at least you can use that. I don't have any problem with those kind of items. Chair, whatever, kendo stick, fine. You're not using a long warrior sword on anybody. So that being
her name is Angela. Okay.
But I just thought this match was just average. I don't really have any reason to really talk about it more. Gunther won. He's moving on to hopefully a bigger and better opponent.
This was absolute slugfest. I mean, it was hard hitting. It was smash mouth wrestling. It was everything you expected it to be between Drew McIntyre and Gunther. I'm like you though, Brett. I was kind of underwhelmed. It's almost like this match, it never got to that next level. Like it never got out of that gear. It just kind of stayed. And I think the crowd was getting into it, but it never ramped up. So the crowd was just like, yeah.
They knew Drew McIntyre wasn't gonna win, Kyle.
Yeah. I mean, it was very predictable, very, very predictable. But here's my thing: what does this mean for Drew going forward? Where does he go from here? Because he just returned after being off TV since Mania. He just returned for what, 2 or 3 weeks to then lose to Gunther. Now what? Like now what do you do? Now what do you do with Drew? So
you put him with the Brawling Brutes. You turn him heel, and they just start beating the crap out of folks every week.
I think Drew is turning heel. I don't know when it's happening, but I do think he's turning heel. But same for Gunther. What's next for who's going up against Gunther next?
I want Gunther to trade his belt for a title shot. I'm still determined that I know they're not going to do it, but that's the only way. Because I mean, what do? You can't take the belt off me. You beat him, but you want him to go for the next title up. Maybe you want him to go after Seth Rollins. I'd love to see Gunther Seth Rollins, but like he's still got the other belt. So do you have him get beat so then he can go after? But I like the old, and I've said this numerous times to you guys, I'm sure, the old X division where you could take that belt and trade it up. Say, I want to trade my title in for a title shot of my choosing, and he goes after somebody. I mean, I know they're going to let him get to the Honky Tonk Man record. We've talked about that. That's going to go away probably. I think he's only a month away from that. Yeah. So here pretty soon, he's got to go after. I mean, I want Seth Rollins. I think Seth Rollins Gunther would be an incredible match. And Seth, I know Seth has been not the champ for too long, but I think that would be a great opportunity to put Gunther over and let him have a little run with the world title. Maybe Seth chases him for a little bit.
This is how underwhelmed we are. We're just all looking at you like, you know, it is what it is. I'm trying to
write some actually interesting storylines here, Matt.
You know, I mean, there's basically a couple of tiers in WWE, and that's it. And Gunther has gone through pretty much his max, and I don't know if his star power will get him up to that next level. You know, and unfortunately, because of the way things are, you know, done, Bobby would probably be a really good feud for him, but Bobby Lashley, but they're not on the same show brand right now. So, you know, what can you do with him right now? I think you can just probably KO. You know, if he gets healed up, is probably his next logical thing. But then you got the tag titles to deal with as far as that goes. So, or Sami Zayn, I guess, could be.
You got two sets of tag titles, and neither one of them are on because you got one person hurt.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's going to be fun to figure out how they handle that situation. Maybe the Hurt Business will just go wherever they want to go, and that could be fun. You know, that they kind of like Judgment Day goes where they want to go. Maybe the Hurt Business will go where they want to go.
Like Dirty Dom.
I think Bobby's technically a Raw superstar anyway, and but then he showed up there not with the Street Profits, but I think he's actually a Raw. I can't remember, but because like we said, brand split doesn't matter. And you, Brett, you said something about them not doing enough with Drew. I always thought they did too much with Drew. I think they pushed him down our throats for too long as a face. If they switch it up, I really liked. Like I said this on the last show. I really liked, Future, Broken Dreams, what they used to call the Future. I used to like that version of Drew. I don't like the version of Drew now, sword or no sword or whatever. I just don't like this Drew, and it was. I thought it was too much. And please don't put him back with Sheamus. They did that, and I didn't like that. And so please don't put him back with the Brawling Brutes or with Sheamus. I don't know what to do with Drew, but I had two notes with this match. I think they kind of went correlated. But I said Gunther is a freak. Like, he is a freak. Like, to do that at his size, the things he does. But the one move he did a frog splash into a clothesline into the powerbomb. I was like, who did? Like, the dude is and I saw him live several years ago. Well, right before the pandemic, and it was a 8-man tag.
It was Walter.
Yeah, Walter was the Imperium against the Undisputed Era, and there was just, and the place went nuts when they won, and the whole place was chanting Walter, and he was doing the same things then, and he was bigger then.
Yeah,
now he's thinned down, and he just can do so much more. And I think there is I know Matt said he didn't know, and they may not push him to that next level, but I think there is another level, and I hope we get to see it in WWE. But like Matt said, you never know if they're ever going to push him to that level.
I think they will. I think he's going to get beat after he breaks Honky Tonk Man's record. He's going to lose the IC title, but I think he'll lose it in a way where he's like, I've done all I can with this title. I don't want it anymore. I want to go after a bigger title. I think however they make him lose that title, I think they still keep him strong. And then, yes, I think we have a Seth Rollins and Gunther match down the road at some point, maybe at Royal Rumble. I think down the road at some point we will have that match. And I think Gunther is big title ready. I think he has proved he's a workhorse in the ring. Like Brandon said, he's a freak. He is amazing. And to your point, Brandon, when he was Walter, he was a bigger guy. I remember the match with him and Ilya Dragunov at NXT UK that was phenomenal. I mean, it was a great match. And so Gunther can definitely work in the ring. And I'm excited to see what they do with him going forward. But this is always the problem with WWE. What's the follow-up? What do you do in the follow-up? You can get these people to this point, but what do you do after that? So we'll have to see.
And ultimately, I think you nailed it on the head, KO. That when you go into the match knowing that because Drew is probably one of the last people who probably had a legitimate chance. You would believe it if Drew would have won. You would have believed that Drew at his best, maybe give him a couple build up wins, could have beat him. Now who's that person who could have taken it off? But we know because of Drew's contract status, it wasn't going to be him. It was just going to be he was there as basically a high priced jobber for Gunther. So storylines, they're going to have to get the writers together because I think he's kind of maximized that middle tier, and to get him to that top tier, he's not only got to lose the title, but you got to make it make sense and make us want to believe. And right now, WWE has really struggled with that.
Yeah, we'll see kind of where he ends up going. Like I said, it's going to be interesting, and you've got, of course, with the world title, you've got a lot of things kind of floating around it right now. As we kind of move to the next one, we all had Gunther as well. So that's another. This next match, however, we all had Seth freaking Rollins and to win. Our colleague Jeremy went with Finn Balor, and he was incorrect.
He was almost right.
Yeah, it was close. It was close.
Close.
Yeah, so this match, guys, I like the work in the match. I feel like it was a repeat of last time. I feel like we saw the same match again where they had a great match in the ring, and then it was totally overshadowed by the Judgment Day coming down, and they distract, and it was a different finish with using the briefcase with the stomp. That was, I think, a cool effect. It's funny though because Finn had the chance to cheat earlier, and if he would have done it, he could have won, but he hesitated. I don't think he wanted Priest. I don't think he wanted Priest to get the credit for him winning. Hesitated. Then the second effort ended up costing him the match. And guys, if this doesn't lead to a Finn Balor Priest feud, I mean, what's going to at this point? Because it's 2 times in a row that they have had issues with a finish to a Rollins Balor match. I know they did a good job of building up the 7 years, but I'm kind of done with them for now. I'm intrigued if they can go with the Priest Balor feud. Maybe they put the briefcase on, or they put something on it. I know kind of off the top of this match, but what do you guys think of this match and the feud going forward here?
To me, it was match of the night. In ring work, I thought it was match of the night. Great storytelling throughout the match with Finn doing the buckle bomb on the same thing that Seth did 7 years ago. The storytelling throughout the match was great. You weren't going to have a bad match with these two in the ring. They're both phenomenal. I'm with you, Brett, where I'm kind of over Judgment Day interfering, but also it's kind of like a Roman Reigns match. I know the ref's going to get knocked down at some point. I know Judgment Day is going to interfere at some point. It was just when it was going to happen. I liked the ending, though. It left different avenues for WWE to go. To me, it looked like Priest was trying to help Balor, give him the briefcase to use it. I think Balor thought that Priest was saying, hey, I'm going to cash in right now. And Balor was like, no, we don't need to do this. So I think there was miscommunication. And then at the end, Priest trying to help and ultimately costing Balor the match and him getting stomped through the briefcase. Love the ending. Thought it was great. And I do think, yes, like you said, Brett, if this doesn't kick off a feud between Damian and Finn, then what is? I mean,
they patched it up already. I thought they were going to feud before, and they kind of, we patched this up, yada, yada. I mean, at some point you've got to, right? I mean, it's got to be.
I think that definitely it's definitely leading there. When it gets there, I don't know. I think it's coming sooner rather than later. It's definitely happening.
Payback?
Maybe. I mean, you could. Yeah. What I also thought may happen last night is Saturday, that I thought maybe Finn wins and then Priest cashes in, but then Finn has JD McDonough come out, who he's been kind of talking to in the back.
That's too creative, Kyle. That's too creative.
To save him from losing his title that he just won against Seth. I kind of thought that angle, but they didn't. I enjoyed the match. Match of the night, in my opinion. And the ending was great, and I'm excited to see what they go from here. The Judgment Day is the biggest story on Monday Night Raw. Like the Bloodline is the biggest story on SmackDown. I'm excited. When we get off here, I'm going to watch Raw and I'm excited to watch it because of Judgment Day. That's the main reason.
Yeah, it's finally we've had Judgment Day on our TV for a while, and they kind of got stale there for the longest time, but they've really done a good job of kind of keeping them hot. I agree with you, Colin. Again, in my opinion, the in-ring work on this match, I loved it. I felt this was too similar. I know the ending was different. I just felt it was too similar to the other match as far as Judgment Day coming over. They distract, and I don't know. To make a like Matt, it took it from took it down a star. The ending kind of ruined it for me. But it was still a really good match. I definitely agree.
Yeah, I thought it was a great match. But Kyle said these two can't have a bad match. Where the last pay-per-view, I did not enjoy the match between them at all. I thought that was not. I mean, that wasn't a bad match, but it was not. I didn't think the last one was a good match. I thought it was it was one of the worst of the card. Where I thought this one was the best. My favorite of the card, probably the best of the card, and I thought great match. And then I started but you knew they were going to interfere. But I thought I was like, oh, this is going to take away a little bit. But it's like you knew they were going to interfere. But then Dom, the way he sold the stomp, I was like, I thought that was awesome. Like, that was probably one of the best things I've seen Dom do.
But Brandon, he's in the top 5 of 30 wrestlers under 30.
He's a top 5 character for sure. But as a wrestler, I thought that was one of the best wrestling things he's done was the way he sold that stomp. I thought it was a great match, and like Kyle said, I love the Judgment Day story. The one thing that was funny, y'all didn't see the Edge vignette, but when it came on, I told my wife, I said it would be some WWE stuff to now. There's friction in Judgment Day. Edge comes back and he replaces Finn in Judgment Day.
It takes it back over.
Oh, I don't. It's not going to happen, but that would be something they would do.
Yes, absolutely.
And then Finn joins JD McDonough. But, to keep the Judgment Day going, I could see them just bringing Edge right back in.
In trying to collect my thoughts, I finally – you said it, Brett. It kind of finally gave me the word I was looking for to describe my feelings on it. And it was just stale. This match would have been a nice house show match. They like you said, they all wrestle well. They're very good wrestlers. We know this. What's new? What's that next level? There's no stipulation on this match. There's no steel cage, last man standing, hell in the cell, ladder match, anything to give us that finality to this arc. It was just another match doing the same exact thing, ending the same exact way. And for me, another sparkler. I found myself fast forwarding through this match at times, because it's just, I've seen it. It's there. There's nothing special to it. It wasn't bad. The in-ring work these are two very talented professional wrestlers doing very good things, but I was just waiting for Damian Priest to come out. I was like, I just fast forward, and that's why I started watching the match was when Damian Priest came out, because to me, that's when the match is going to start. Okay, what's the storyline going to be? And like KO, I'm okay with the storyline. I'm okay with the ending as far as that goes. It ruined the match for me, the match quality, but I didn't have much of an expectation for the match, so I was feeling that way. Hopefully, we'll get Damian and Finn out of this, but and they all looked weak at the end. I felt like you had Rhea hugging Dominic, and they all just kind of looked weak at the end, and that was very unjudgment day-like for me. So we'll find out where it goes, but again, kind of in general underwhelmed.
You made a good point there. I think Judgment Day has been looking so strong on TV, and they kind of look like some buffoons on Saturday. Like, you had Dom trying to get Seth, and then Seth does a dive off the top to hit Priest, and then stomp Dom, and then, like you said, Rhea, who I barely noticed she was there. Like, I've noticed her come out, but she didn't get involved in the match like she normally does. It was very weird. It was a weird presentation for Judgment Day. It didn't make them look good, didn't make them look strong. But it's kind of the same story that they did with Bloodline, showing some cracks inside the foundation where it then kind of explodes. This is not going to be the same as the Bloodline, but kind of the same avenue with showing some cracks and then having some disputes inside the faction. But they looked horrible on Saturday.
So Finn's going to break off, and then he's going to go back and then decide he forgives them. He's going to come back. He's going to kick Damian Priest out because all of a sudden, after they attacked him and threw him in an ambulance, he's okay with it. Yeah.
Makes sense.
You can tell I'm ready to talk about that.
Just do a little search and replace.
Okay, so the next match, honestly, I love this next match. The triple threat women's match I thought they did a lot of things with the triple threat that sometimes they don't do. In a triple threat match, a lot of times they're going to kick somebody out of the ring. That person's going to take a nap for 5 minutes. The two will work. There was a lot of like double spots in this match. And I really thought they did a really good job. Of course, Asuka and Belair and Flair can all go in the ring, so no surprise. But to me, it was great chemistry between the three of them. Just one spot after another spot. You had Belair, which I don't know if she was legit hurt, guys.
No,
but she sold it like she was. I thought she was injured. Like when she hit, she yelled so loud and was it.
Can I tell you what did it for me? I don't know if y'all noticed this. When she hit and made that blood curdling scream, yes, she was holding her right knee. When she did the 450 splash, she was holding her left knee. She didn't even know what knee was hurt. That's what I knew. I was like, her knee ain't really hurt because, I knew she wasn't hurt when medical personnel came out and then they stopped going up the ramp and you could still see them in the background. I was like, she's going to get back involved. But then after she did the splash and held the other knee, I was like, yeah, she don't even know what knees hurt. So she's not hurt.
They sold. I mean, it was a big, until that I didn't catch that. Good catch, Kyle. But because I was more like surprised, like, oh my gosh, she's coming back in the ring. I thought she was done, and that was her. Because we all picked here, Jeremy and I guess Matt, y'all both had Asuka in this one, and the rest of us had Charlotte Flair, but we were all wrong twice. we just doubly missed this one. I didn't see the cash in coming, guys. I that was a surprise to me, and that's why I like this match. I think this was my favorite match of the night because of it was something happened that I didn't expect. I didn't expect Bianca Belair to win. I was like, oh my gosh, Bianca won. And then the music hit and I was like, she's injured. They're going to use that as her reason for losing the belt. They're going to push Io Sky here. And it made a lot of sense, but I didn't see that coming. And I like that. When I can have something, even if it's not what I pick, if I don't see it coming, then it surprises me. And I don't have that happen a whole lot. I don't know what you guys thought, but that's what made it. And the ring work was amazing. I just overall really like this match.
Up to this point, this match had the moment of the night with Io Sky cashing in. The match fell flat to me. Again, the crowd was absolutely dead. You could hear, they were so dead, you could hear Charlotte giving cues in the ring. The mics were picking it up because it was so quiet in the arena. So
that's not their fault. I mean, they can't help the crowd.
I understand, but hear me out. So both women's matches on the card, crowd absolutely dead. And you wanted two more? No, thank you. No, thank you. I'm good.
This one was way better than the other one, Kyle.
I agree. I agree. Like, match was decent. All three women worked hard. It did seem a little clunky in spots. Like not everybody was on the same page. And like I said, you could hear everybody talking in the ring because it was just so absolutely quiet. But I personally kind of like that. It's kind of like breaking down the fourth wall, kind of being able to hear what's going on in the ring. The Bianca angle annoyed me. I got annoyed. we get it. She's tough. Like, and Michael Cole was trying to build it. Oh, she the toughest and that's great. We get it. Like, that's awesome. But they gave her the Paul Pierce treatment. She got wheelchaired off basically, and then came back to, and I did not like it. But and then, like I said, I pointed out earlier, she switched knees. I encourage y'all, go back and watch it. When she hurt her knee originally, hit the steps, she's on the ground writhing in pain with her right knee, and they're walking her up the ramp, and she's clutching that right knee. Even running back into the ring, she's dragging her right knee like it's broken. Then she gets in the ring, hits the 450 splash, and then she's holding her left knee. And that's when I said, I was like, wait a second. Didn't you hurt your right knee? And I had to rewind it. And I was like, yeah, okay. So she doesn't even know what knees she's hurting. That threw it off for me. When they gave the title to Bianca, when she pinned, which a very creative pin, I will admit, that was very, to your point, Brett, they did a lot of different things in this, not your typical triple threat match that had the typical spot. So I enjoyed that. Once the bell rang and they gave Bianca the title, I immediately grabbed my phone and I was getting ready to tweet, what the hell are we doing? Like, why did we take the title off Asuka to just give it back to Bianca? It makes absolutely no sense. Like, I was upset. And then I heard EO's music. I said, oh, here we go. Okay. So once that hit, it all made sense. They made it make sense. Usually WWE doesn't, and they did it this time because now you keep Asuka looking strong because she never got pinned. She didn't lose the title. Well, she kind of got pinned, but she didn't lose it to me, because then the person that won it lost it immediately, which begs the question, does that count as a title reign for Bianca?
Yes.
Like a 30-second title reign?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Anyway.
That's why they didn't give it to Charlotte Flair, because they didn't want to give her, I guess, that extra title reign.
Well, and I think it made both of them look good. It makes Bianca still look strong too, because they can say she was injured and that's why she lost the title. So it keeps both of them looking strong. Now that the title's on EO, will it mean anything? I don't know. I don't know what she'll do with it. I can guarantee you, I promise you, who her first feud's going to be, Charlotte Flair, because Charlotte's going to come out and say, well, I didn't get pinned in the match, so I still deserve a shot.
I got sprayed with some illegal mist.
Yeah.
Which,
well,
is that illegal?
In triple threat. No, it's legal in triple threat.
But he uses it in regular matches, and they don't ever.
Well,
the ref never sees it.
Yeah,
oh,
right.
Even though it's all over her face.
It's all over her face. They didn't see her use it.
I don't get it.
Came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I didn't know, like, when EO's cash in, Bailey's come down and is like, is Bailey gonna do something? It's like, no, they're gonna let EO win, but we're still wondering, when do we get the Bailey? Because it seemed like a couple months ago they were gonna split.
I don't think that's happening now.
They're all together and happy now.
Yeah, and I saw Dakota come back out too, but I still eventually Bailey's gonna get jealous and want that title shot. So it may not happen right now. Like you said, she may face Charlotte first, and then maybe after she beats Charlotte, then Bailey says, "All right, enough of this," and attacks her. But I thought it was a good match. There were some really good spots. I mean, these three women, they know how to perform in the ring, and another kind of pushed up point is why we didn't have a Rhea match, because the other three best women are all in the other show and in the same match. I mean, Becky too, but Becky was in a different story. But you're basically, outside of Rhea, your three best women all in the other show, so none of them can do anything with Rhea, unless now you may want to flip one of them and have one of them go with Rhea now. But
you mentioned it, Brandon, a little bit, and I think, Brett, you've referred to it, the whole copy and paste mechanism. Anybody remember what happened at SummerSlam last year with Bianca?
She won the title, didn't she?
And then what happened?
And then she got attacked by Damage Control, didn't she? Or Becky came out. Becky came out to defend her.
Becky came out and beat her in 20 seconds.
Oh, no, that wasn't last. That was the year before last.
Yeah, last year.
Yeah.
Didn't Bailey and them
showed up at Damage Control showed up last year. So yes, yes, she was supposed to have the match with Carmella, and then Becky came out, and I remember that.
And we got the 30-second title reign. Now we get another 30-second title reign out of this. So again, just becoming a little bit predictable as far as these, Bianca does not want to win the title at SummerSlam. But both of you made excellent points as far as the match quality goes. Some very creative things that 450 on the figure 8. I mean, just aesthetically good wrestling as far as that goes, but I expect that out of these three. I don't think Io's a champion. I just, we had Io, at, I think it was Payback or whatever the Puerto Rico one was, where she got to wrestle Asuka and just wasn't quite there yet. And so it's just not believable for me, her as a champion. So how will the storyline elevate her to the champion? It's kind of like we're talking about with AEW, Willow Nightingale being that mid-carder, and he's not believable as a champion. Io to me is not believable as a champion. It's like you can put Carmella as a champion. It's just not, you can put a mid-carder with a belt, doesn't make him good. Doesn't give him personality.
Yeah, I guess we'll see where it goes. Honestly, I think the best feud that Io could have is Bailey turn on her. And I mean, we have that built-in, animosity there, from a few months ago. But like Kyle said, maybe they've nixed that at this point. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to know. It kind of feel like Dakota Kai when she got injured. It kind of maybe changed their plans creatively there.
Yeah, I mean, it could have. It very well could have. And I mean, yes, the match was good, but like I said, I'm over Charlotte. I think that's she shouldn't chance to just walk in and have a chance. I like Io. I think she's very good in the ring. I'm hoping. I'm with you. I'm with you, Matt. I understand what you're saying. She maybe just be a mid card, and that's her plateau, which is fine. You need mid card talents as well. But I'm interested. I think maybe this feud within Damage Control, with kind of the tension with Bailey and kind of the opponents. Kairi Sane's supposed to be coming back to WWE. Maybe we get a matchup with her and Io down the road. I think there's some good talent on the roster that can have some good matches with Io. It's up to WWE to book it now. Again, like we said earlier, it's in the follow-up. What do you do now? Like, if you can follow up with it, then great. If not, then don't give her the title. Yeah,
I think she can put on a good match. It's going to be the storyline part with her. I mean, you've got to right now she's paired with Bailey, so maybe this is good for them to stay together, and she can be the mouthpiece for Io Sky and build some feuds up that way, because I just can't. And it's nothing against the Japanese wrestlers. I think there's some incredible wrestlers, but if they can't talk on TV, how do you build them up in storylines? I just like Asuka. That's why I think that lacks with her. She can't talk and have much English on TV. So if you don't have anybody there as her mouthpiece, then for me, it's just hard to build a story off of that. And so I think that's what's going to be Io's biggest problem. If they can use Bailey and Dakota Kai to help mouthpiece some of this feuds going forward, I think she could be good, because we know she can be great in the ring. Do we care about it? Like Matt said, do we care about her? And maybe it's that we need to get her in the ring with some of these good wrestlers, and she goes over on a few, and then now maybe it's more believable that Io Sky can be a long-term champion in WWE. So we'll see where it goes. I mean, they've got a chance to do something with her. This is their chance right now with Io Sky. It's kind of either she's going to be just a tag team wrestler, which there's no tag team division right now, or she's got a chance to compete with the big girls per se. We'll see if she can do it.
We will see, but I mean, like I threw the Carmella reference out there. Carmella can't even make it off the card right now because she's just not very believable, even though she's beautiful and she can speak, but there's just no story there.
Yeah, at least she's got a mouth, like she can talk. And her character is good. It's just that she's one that's going to have to be built back up. And honestly, the whole James Ellsworth thing, is as corny as that was hilarious. I enjoyed a lot of that just because of the story that was with it. It was funny. You got some goofy guy that's falling around this hot, beautiful woman and helping her, and he's the goofiest looking dude that I've ever seen. That guy made money. I don't know how much money he was making, but he earned every penny. I mean, that was one of my, I guess, the weirdest favorite storylines I've had in a while. It was very strange, but it sold Carmella. I mean, he just helped her win, and it was funny. Every time it was a different way. He was Weasley about it, and it didn't get old for me because they did it in a way where it was different every time. To
your point, Brett, about Io needing a mouthpiece and how is she supposed to get over, I think WWE needs to do what they did with Asuka building up to this match. That vignette they aired of Asuka last Monday night was awesome. And Asuka talked a little bit, but it was more of showing her training to get ready for this match. You can do stuff like that with Io. She doesn't have to necessarily talk. I would say Io's English is better than Asuka's at this point. You can at least understand what Io's saying a little more. All you can understand from Asuka is nobody's ready for Asuka.
Nobody's ready for Asuka.
A little dancing around, like that's all she does. Like,
now, if you told me Asuka and Io go out and they start going out there and they talk to each other in Japanese, like I'd be in for that match because
I can't understand a word they're saying, but I can understand intensity.
Yeah, right. They're and when they're out there talking, they've done it a few times and not much with them. They've kind of kept them separate. So at some point, you got to think they're going to go to that well. And
Asuka after the match, back to Kairi Sane coming back into WWE, she kind of hinted at maybe getting those two back together with Asuka and Kairi Sane as a tag team again. Why? There's not a tag team division in the women's division.
It's a wide open division right now, Kyle. There's no one in line.
But do we want Asuka in the tag team division? Really?
I mean, there needs to be somebody.
Or you could just get rid of the titles.
You could, but they're not going to do that. That's no. Then they'd have the women wouldn't have a tag championship and the men has two and they're off the air too. I mean, you have no tag division right now, basically, at the moment.
That's WWE's fault.
Yeah, it is. All right, guys. The next match and I know we the ones. It's we the ones. We're ready to talk about it, but I honestly. This was not the one for me. I didn't like this match, guys. I as much as I was excited and looked forward to this match and the build and the tribal combat. What are they going to do? Are they going to fight in the stands? Are they going to have people show up that I've never seen? Are we going to have some old Samoan legacy guys come in that are going to show up? I mean, I was underwhelmed. Like, I'm very irritated about this. This is the first match in the Bloodline matches that we've had over the last months and months and months and last years that I did not like at all. I despise this match. It was terrible. It was slow. Why, Jimmy? Like, it makes no sense. You bring somebody back like Jimmy Uso. He just got destroyed and put in an ambulance by Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa, and he's been off air and healing, I guess. He comes back and helps him. This makes absolutely no sense. This is the worst. Whoever wrote this story should be fired from WWE. I'm getting on a Matt Diggs rant right here. I love the Bloodline storyline, and they have absolutely ruined it right here for me. And they've got something to make up for. They better tell me some legit reason why Jimmy just helped Roman Reigns. I don't. It doesn't make sense. Again, they built up this big tribal combat, and it was absolutely basically a no DQ match. I mean, it was nothing fancy. I don't like it. I think it was terrible. I ran Brandon off because I'm so negative. But yeah, I'm frustrated, guys, because I was so looking like this was the match of the night. Me and my son were looking for this. We the ones that here at this house, me and my little buddy, we were ready to watch this match, and it fell flat, and that's the way it ended. And it was like was it that bitter beer commercial where you drink the beer? And it's like that face. That's what I had at the end of the night. I was like, oh, that was not. I didn't expect it, but that was terrible. I just didn't like it.
I'm going to disagree a little bit. I like the match. You were talking about it slow. That's a Roman Reigns match. And Roman Reigns matches have these levels of ramping up. Like, it starts off very slow. He's walking around at a slow pace, talking trash to the crowd, talking trash to the opponent. The opponent will get a little offense. It just ramps up. By the end of the match, though, they hit that top gear, and that's usually about the time the ref gets knocked down. That's when that ramps up to that higher gear.
They didn't even need a ref for this one, Kyle. There was no rules.
Well, you got to have somebody count the pin.
I mean,
But yes, you're right. The rules. That's why the ref didn't get knocked out this time, because there was no point in him getting knocked out. I am with you though. Even though I thought it was a good match, it wasn't as good as the other Bloodline matches that we've had. I will agree with it. If you want to rank all the Bloodline matches that we've had in this whole saga, this is the worst of them. I will agree with that. The ending, I was visibly shocked. I thought Jay was about to win it. I had 1, 2, and then somebody pulled him. I said, "Damn it, Jimmy!" I knew exactly who it was at the start. You could see the little air forces on his feet, and I knew it was Jimmy. He took the hood down, saw the braids, and I'm like you. I don't get it. I don't understand. You just got beat up by these people 3 weeks ago, taken to a medical facility, and got taken care of, and then the one person down since day one, and you're going to turn on him for what? It makes no sense. I don't understand where they're going, but
because Jimmy was the one that was originally mad at Roman,
right
from the very beginning. He's the one that convinced Jay to turn on Roman. Like, that's why it doesn't make any sense. If it had been the opposite, then I thought, well, maybe Jay, if it was Jimmy versus Roman, and Jay would have all of a sudden turned back. Okay, maybe he was playing him. But this doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't. But what I will say, I trust Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns, because I think this is the one storyline that Vince has his hands kind of off of. I think this is more of a Paul Heyman, Roman Reigns creative push, working with WWE obviously, but I think it's more from the mind of Paul Heyman. I trust Paul Heyman to tell a good story. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt till SmackDown on Friday, that Jimmy's going to come out and explain why he did what he did. Now, if he doesn't come out and give an explanation, then I'm right on the bandwagon with you. It's absolutely ridiculous. But
it's going to be like Brock Lesnar. He's not going to give us an explanation.
But I just trust Paul Heyman and them that they will give us an explanation and further the storyline. Here's what I think is going to happen. We just a few weeks back had Roman and Solo go up against the Usos. Solo got speared in that match by Roman, and if you noticed at the end, Solo was kind of...
I was thinking he might turn on him.
I thought he was about to turn, and then if Jimmy would have came out, that would have made more sense. Then you have all the brothers together against Roman. I thought he was going to turn, but when he didn't, now I'm kind of thinking, now that Jimmy's back, maybe something Jay said stuck with Solo, and I think at Payback, we're getting brother versus brother. I think it's Uso versus Uso at Payback.
Have they ever fought in a match? Have they ever been separate in WWE? I can't remember them ever having a match.
I don't know. But I think that they get brother versus brother, but then down the line, they're going to mix the tag teams, and I think Solo turns on Roman, and then we get Solo and Jay versus Jimmy and Roman at some pay-per-view.
So basically you have an Uso in each corner, and then Roman versus Solo for the title at some point.
I think eventually that's where it's going to lead to.
I'm fine with that. I just don't get the explanation is going to have to really sell me.
It's going to that's what I'm saying. I'm with you. I think it was a horrible. It makes no sense on the base of it, but I'm going to trust Paul Heyman that they're going to tell us why on Friday.
I can't trust WWE.
I don't trust WWE. I trust Paul Heyman. There's a difference.
He still works for WWE.
I thought it was a good match. The ending is what's going to take away from most people, and like you said, like Matt would say, the ending matters. Yeah, but I thought overall still was a good match. And then talking about tonight, there's more things about this pay-per-view that I didn't like than like Saturday night. I went pleased. I said one of the worst things I saw was the end, Shane and Ronda, and then the ending to this match. So I was pleased. But then talking more about it, there's more things I did not like that I'm now talking about tonight. But I still enjoyed myself during this pay-per-view. I mean, but I did. We have different opinions, man. It's okay.
Brandon, I think Professor you're gonna be on his hit list.
And he didn't. I get it, but like not everybody likes the same things, but like. I mean, people can enjoy different things, and it just like hearing Kyle, he enjoyed most of the things too. It's just there's certain things that kind of stand out, like the ending of this match. But the thing is, I mentioned last week that we could see a Jimmy thing, and y'all said no, that would be taking a step back, which it is. But also the explanation better be good, like y'all said. But with Roman going away, I guess they're not ready for the bloodline story to end. And with Roman going away, maybe this was the only way they feel they could keep it going a little bit longer, because we can't have 3 months of Jay versus Solo, because we've basically just been getting Jay versus Solo every week already.
They just need to sign some more bloodline characters, man. There's so many out there.
In the reality of wrestling, Fatu.
I mean, they've got so many that they could bring in. Like, I mean, honestly, and they don't even have to wrestle at first. I mean, just bring them in and let them be characters in this story. I mean, you did perfect with Solo. We thought the same thing. We thought it was almost to the end of the like what they could do with it, and then you had the Usos barred from the ringside, and then you had Solo show up. Boom, lit a fire. And now, how many more months of this have we gotten? They've got the players out there. They even could have brought in Rikishi or somebody that's like that would have done for something. Like, I was just looking for somebody new to just light another firework in the storyline, as Matt would say. Like, I was waiting for that firework to happen at the end, and it was not even a sparkler for me. It was a dud. They lit it, and it was completely dud for me at this point.
The one thing I do hate too is the cadence when like false finishes is one thing, and Matt, I know he's got a problem with false finishes a lot too. But the ones I really hate are when the ref's hand just stops. Yeah, and it's like, well, y'all were supposed to kick out already, and it just stops. And that happened multiple times in this match. But the funny thing that kind of stood out in this match that I like was when Jay used the fan to balance before he took out. So I thought that was just kind of a cool, because it wasn't meant to happen.
Yeah, he stepped up there and got his balance on him.
That was a cool off the cuff moment. You don't get those often. I thought that was kind of
it was quite off the ropes, if you will.
Yeah, that's true. I like that.
Triple H is tuning into our podcast right now, and he probably just went from 6 to midnight hearing Brandon talk about how excited he was about the card in general.
I didn't say excited.
As a way to just justify his bad booking repeatedly. He's like, this is why we're making so much money hand over fist right now, because we've suckered in even smart marks like Brandon to just love this product right now. No matter what we give them, we're just going to be acceptable as long as we can do a couple of good things. As long as we can be bad good enough, we can make Brandon happy. And if we can make Brandon happy, you just called this a good match, Brandon. This was 50 minutes of a time waste. It was like an hour of crap is what it was. I feel like it was over an hour. I think it started about 3 hours. And
well, the intros are about 15 or 20 minutes.
Yeah,
maybe so. But the whole presentation was over an hour. That's what they booked the bloodline. Granted the whole rigmarole coming out and whatnot. It was slow. It was boring. Remember, Brandon, go watch the Hell in the Cell match with Jay against Roman, where this all kind of got started. That was a beautiful match. It was.
This was not that, but that's the bar they've set. So that's like. That's the thing is like,
it wasn't even
close. It was a good match, Brandon. That was your words, not mine.
Right, but it wasn't that match. It wasn't a great match. I thought it was. I enjoyed the match, except the ending.
I'm with you, Brandon. I'll be on your side on this one. I said it was a good match too. I enjoyed it, but it was the worst bloodline match that we've seen.
Exactly, but they set the bar so high.
Right, but at the same time, I would watch that Roman and Jay match 10 times out of 10 over Cody and Brock.
Absolutely. Actually, I would rather watch the Brock Cody match, honestly.
Not at all. I would rather watch Roman. I would rather watch a Roman match.
Even just because normally, yes, but not in this case. To me, this match was just slow. It was boring. Like, I needed something. Like, go out to the fight in the concession stand. Like,
they fight in the stands. That's where Solo got involved.
I know, but I needed more of that. Like, it was this big. They put a big deal in this tribal combat match.
Yes,
and I didn't feel like it was any different than a normal.
What did you expect it to be? What did you? Because all they said is there's no rules. So that I expected them to fight all.
all over the arena.
This was
Like they go
supposed to
through.
be the most brutal match. It was supposed to be the blow off of this feud, and this is a feud that's been in Hell in the Cell.
It can't be a
just
blow-off.
like an I quit kind of a where you made him say I quit because you brutalized his brother in such a way. There's no blow off to this.
But
It's just a regular Roman match.
You can't be. You're not going to have the blow off right now. The feud's not over. There's still more stories to be told here. You're not going to have a blow off right now. The blow off's at Mania. The blow off is gonna.
I hope this story gets better because I'm just concerned right now that like the reason I'm so upset about this match is because one of the main reasons why I tune into WWE every week on Friday nights or whenever I go watch it is because of this storyline, and they just fell flat on their face, and it was just awful to me. The match I just didn't enjoy it. I almost fell asleep. I was so bored during this match. I wanted to see something like. If this would have been a regular wrestling match, it was been okay. But like they built it up this tribal combat, and I was just disappointed. I was looking for something more.
So did they need to bring out a bed of nails like John Moxley did?
Hey, that would have been something. Anything. Something. Some tables out. Bring some tables out from under the ring. Put them up in the
tables.
It was one little measly table they ended the match with.
There's a lot of chairs.
Jay did a Samoan drop through the table on Roman. There was there, and then that got put through a table.
Wasn't that an announce table though?
No, there was a table set up on the outside of the ring, and Jay did a Samoan spike or Samoan drop.
I was just disappointed. I don't
know.
There
were 4 table spots, Brett. How many more table spots do you want?
In like 80 chairs.
I don't know. It just wasn't. It just didn't do it for me. I don't know why. I don't explain it. I was so looking forward to something just up here, and it just was down here for me. I don't know.
Like why. that Boston crowd at AEW Blood and Guts. We want fire. I don't know what else.
Give me some fire barbed wire tables like Jeremy and Matt's match. I mean, at least it had been. I don't know. I just like if it had been a regular match, then okay. But like they built. That's my problem. They built it up as like. I've never seen a tribal combat match ever. They built it up to being this big thing, like anything goes. I'm expecting these random people to show up to be involved, like, more shenanigans and things, surprises and stuff. And we didn't get any of that. It was just basically a no DQ match.
I mean, that's what I expected going into it. So I think it's where your expectations were. I mean, when I heard tribal combat,
then why not just call it no DQ match? And then because to me that builds it up. That just builds it up, this expectation of people wanting something that's different.
It was for it was for the lay. That's the whole tribal combat portion of it. And the tribal combat is if Jay would have won, he's the new tribal chief. That's where the tribal combat comes in.
It has nothing to do
with the match.
That wasn't going to happen. I mean, we knew Roman wasn't winning. I mean, Roman losing. I mean, he was not going to give up that right now.
I agree, but at the same time, like I don't think tribal combat was necessarily a match stipulation. I think no DQ was the stipulation. Tribal combat had to deal with the tribal chief aspect of it.
You're wrong on this, as you are on many things. Let me take you back to AEW's biggest fail, and I can probably tell you what AEW's biggest fail, and you know what I'm talking about, right? Go ahead and tell us.
No, go ahead.
The exploding tables match or the bomb match or whatever with John Moxley, and you had the sparklers come out when it came to that. You're expecting this big thing because you call it that. You call it the exploding, whatever they call it, exploding tables match, and then you get sparklers coming out. This is called tribal combat after they had an I Quit Hell in the Cell match. This is a step above that. And what did we get? We just got basically a regular Roman Reigns match. Brett is completely right on this. They needed to write the story in violence. This might have been even an example for somebody to blade, and I know they use that rarely, but we got blood in Brock and Cody 2 times ago.
It's a bloodline feud. This is for blood rights basically of who's going to be the tribal chief. I like that. I would have loved to see someone bleed in this match. That would have done it a little bit better for me. I mean, just believe
you're not going to see that in WWE. WWE is not going to give you blood. That's why it's a PG product. They're not giving you blood.
Lesnar bled, I believe,
not intentionally though. Like
it was. He bladed.
He did not blade. He hit the rate.
He did this. Did you not see it? He had it in his.
Listen. I'm just saying. You're AEW, yes, and these big matches, you're going to get blood. John Moxley will walk into the ring, step across the rope, and immediately start bleeding. Like that's what you're going to get in AEW. You're not getting that in WWE. We can't compare the two with these. I agree with you. In a big match like this, we need blood. There needs to be some color in the match to show the intensity of it. But you're just not going to get that in WWE. That's not what they do. It's a PG product. They black and white out when it's blood. They don't want to show blood on TV.
But ultimately, you think back to Royal Rumble, and that was one of the most violent things when you had Roman just mercifully beating your cousin up.
I was there.
And you were just seeing this, and you were feeling that violence as far as that goes. Yep. That's what this match should have been. You should have been feeling that, even if you don't have blood, you should have something where you are feeling just. I would have rather seen Roman just go crazy. He did his little pissed off snap thing where he just beat down Jay, and you have like people coming up begging him to stop the violence. That would have been tribal combat. That would have had a storyline. You would have had the violence, or otherwise you had Jay finally snap and go to that next level. This was just a match.
Well, like Brandon said, this is the beauty of this podcast. We can all have different opinions, and
no, you need to have my opinion because my opinion is right.
Okay, everybody other than Matt, we can all get along with different
opinions. Brett, our host, is the only one who has seen the light.
I think Jeremy would actually, when I talked to him a little bit earlier, he was in agreement. He was kind of disappointed by this particular match as well. So
I get being disappointed because you have high expectations for it, but I still enjoyed the match.
Why would I not have high expectations? The Bloodline feud has carried WWE. Yeah, it's got to have the high expectations. They've got to continue the story. It's got to keep me interested. And right now, I'm interested only because I'm like confused on what they've got to come up with something really good right now. Because I'm just very confused.
And they're not. I mean, you know what it's going to be. Jimmy's going to say they beat him. They beat the sense into him. It was Jay's fault. This was why this happened, and this wouldn't have happened if Jay I mean, it's going to be predictably bad.
Brett, let me ask you something. Okay. Would you agree that bye Matt? Would you agree that Shohei Ohtani? Hello, Matt. Would you agree that Shohei Ohtani is the best baseball player right now in baseball?
Just the ability for him to impact both sides of the ball. I mean,
it's a simple answer.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, because there's nobody else that pitches and bats. I mean,
right. I think, but okay, so that's my point. I think all four of us can agree Shohei Ohtani is the best MLB player, right? Should win MVP. Does he go out there and pitch a perfect game every game? Does he go out there and hit 4 home runs every time he's in a game? You're going to have off nights. I think the Bloodline story, yes, it was an.
If
off
you're an MVP,
Bloodline.
you don't give up 18 home runs and just go out there and.
So you can't have a bad night.
You think this was like a 1-star match, like a negative star?
I honestly think this was the worst match of the night for me.
What, worse than Shayna and Ronda?
I didn't like this match at all. I just didn't like it because it's
fine.
It's the main event.
Okay.
It's the main event for me, and they built it up to be this big tribal combat match. Like it should have been way better than this. I was mad at myself that I stayed all the way through the end and watched this match. Like I was disappointed.
There was a match between Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler that
at least they had some legitimate strikes. Horrible. They had some legitimate strikes in that match that were violent.
That was more violent.
Those
cheese garbage.
Those 2 kicks were in the knee were more violent,
and then
happened in this other match.
You got Brock and Cody in a normal match that you want with no DQ apparently.
Yeah,
you're going to say Roman and Jay was the worst match. Come on, man.
It was just the worst to me, just because
worse than Ronda and Shayna.
Yes.
You've been waiting on this date with sloth toes. Like you've been building it up. You're finally going to get your night with the 10. And then she takes you to this match. You're going to be disappointed.
It was very disappointing.
I wouldn't be. Y'all would be. I wasn't disappointed. I was entertained.
Yeah.
It was very disappointing. It was just like it's like what you've been waiting all week to go out and get this margarita that's supposed to be the best in town. Like they've built it up to be like, this is going to be the best thing you've ever had. And you drink it and it's like drinking piss. That's the way I felt. That's how I felt at the end of the night. It was just that disappointing, and it ruins the entire match. I mean, the match itself, it wasn't terrible as far as, but it wasn't good, but it wasn't as bad as some of the matches. No. I'm saying that the match,
like Jimmy.
The match itself wasn't the worst of the night. Okay, but the end just makes it the worst to me.
So I said
the ending, yes, but like
no, like you have to include that in the match. That's right. To me, that's what makes it the worst, is because it got to the end and it was awful.
Let me give you a better metaphor to explain what Brett explains. I hear them, and I feel like y'all are completely doing this. You've been waiting all week to go to this restaurant that your best friend has recommended. It's the most expensive restaurant in town, and you were about to go pay $500 for this steak that you've been told all about. This is going to be the best meal, and you're looking forward to it, and you're a steak aficionado, and you get there and it's a Texas Roadhouse steak, effectively. It was okay. I mean, Texas Roadhouse steaks are okay at the end of the day, but you were expecting so much more because of the hype, because of the price, and you feel let down because you spent $500 for this thing.
And then dessert, and then you get your dessert, and it's like something you could have gotten from the grocery store. And it was your very last thing, and it was not good. Like, even the steak was okay, but then you get to the end, it's like maybe I got a milkshake and it tasted like poop, and it ended. It was the ending was awful. Like, it ruined the entire meal. Even the steak was okay, but after having dessert, it's terrible.
Okay, but you're saying you were expecting an A+ match, which I get, and then you thought the match was a D, and then it ended up being an F-.
Yeah, because of the ending.
Where I think I was expecting an A+ match. I thought the match was a B+.
A B+?
And then the ending may have pushed it down to a B- or C+.
Oh, no, it failed. It was an epic fail to me overall. I just didn't like it.
It's wrestling. Everybody's going to agree on the same thing.
I know. I think it's mainly just because of the fact that I've just become that's my main thing I look forward to every week is the Bloodline feud. I watch the other stuff. I skip where I don't really care about. That's what I want to watch. And that part, to me, it's like, let's say that I go to a state tournament. Okay, Chapel Hill's playing. They're the team I'm coming to watch. Like, I go to watch the other stuff, and that's fine. But I get to them, and they just completely lay an egg and don't play. I'm ticked. Like, to me, this was the match that I wanted to watch of all the whole card, above anything else, and I just didn't like it. It was just awful to me.
I think it comes down we all have perception is reality, right? So we all have different expectations and what we view as our expectations, and they all differ. All four of us have different ones. So for me personally, I'm like Brandon. I went in here expecting top tier match. I was, let down by the match itself, but I'm intrigued. I was entertained because of the ending. Do I agree with it? Do I understand? No, I don't. But that's what's going to make me tune in Friday to see, okay, where do they go from here? So I'm intrigued by it. The ending actually intrigued me more than if it would have been a clean Roman Reigns win without interference, because then I'm like, well, yeah, that's what we expected. I didn't expect to see Jimmy. Brandon called it. I didn't expect to see Jimmy. Or if I did see Jimmy, he was going to be with Jay. I didn't expect Jimmy to turn on Jay. So that's where you were talking about the shock factor, the wow factor, the surprise. You want to be surprised. I was surprised.
Well,
it did it for me.
But when I'm shocked, though, I want it to make sense. And to me, right now, it doesn't make any sense at all.
Right now, it doesn't. But let's wait till after Friday. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Have they let us down yet?
So far, it's been okay. But, okay, so what we'll do is we'll make this one of our off topics next time, and we'll go back. We'll see what they've done, because it's going to be a few weeks before we're on again.
Yeah.
So we'll kind of relive this and see if we all have the same opinion on the way
that me and Brandon were right.
I mean, it doesn't mean you're right. Even if they've got it in a reason, it doesn't mean it's a good reason.
We'll see. We'll just wait till Friday.
I mean, I remember we kind of had a similar discussion in April after WrestleMania as far as, why did Cody lose? Make it make sense. It still really hasn't made sense yet. We're 4 months past that point, and it's still, you've just forgotten about it. It's just like, well, they put him with Brock, and it's not going to make sense, I think, at the end of the day.
Well, the Cody part hasn't, but the Bloodline stuff is it's made sense on the other side because if Cody wins that match, do we get the same story in the bloodline that we've had?
They could still tell that without the belt.
I think you could tell the bloodline story without the title.
Could, but not the same one they've told.
Right. Yeah.
You could
But
still
I mean, you could
had one this was his first title match.
You could
so
still have
okay.
You could still have this tribal chief
right,
match. You could still have this tribal match and be fighting for the little thing, whatever they call it, though.
Ulafala.
There you go. You could be
but
fighting.
Roman would have lost some of his luster too.
Yeah. Well, Roman lost some of his luster when he got pinned at the last pay-per-view. So I mean, his luster it's leaving him. I think we are nearing the end of the bloodline story, but I think there's a few more chapters before we get to the end.
Now, I will say this: Jeremy hinted me in on this, and we'll kind of close with this. He listens to the press conference. I don't know how much you guys listen to any of those, but he said that the bloodline, talking to Heyman and stuff, the bloodline stuff is just getting started.
I don't agree with that.
I read the Cliff Notes.
That's what he said. So we'll see where it's going. Like I said, right now I'm irritated, but Friday could come around, it could change my mind. The match, I'm not going to change my mind. I didn't like the match. I didn't like the way it ended. I don't think they're going to be able to change my mind because to me it doesn't make sense. But we'll see. I mean,
Roman said that same thing about the bloodline. I want to say it was after Mania, where he was like, we're on chapter 3. Like we got a lot more to go. I don't think the bloodline story is just getting started. I don't agree with Heyman with that. I think it's nearing the end, but I do think there's a lot more story to be told.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we got a couple of weeks. We'll be back on at some point. Next one's going to be we got AEW All In coming up next. That'll be the 27th of August. So of course, it's going to be a busy few weeks here. You've got All In the 27th. You've got Payback the 2nd, and you've got All Out the 3rd. So within like a week's time, you're going to have 3 big shows. So hopefully we'll have some exciting things to talk about there.
That mid-show we do in between All In and Payback and All Out will be fun.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we'll have like a preview of All In.
That'll be a 4-hour show.
Yeah, we're going to start early for Kyle.
Hey, I've got a little breaking news for you. Little breaking news. Your boy, your special correspondent, has booked his flight to New York City for Grand Slam. So I will be there at Grand Slam.
All right.
Nice. That's exciting.
That's
hopefully it's a good show.
For the show, of course.
I hope you're not disappointed at the end of it.
I had so much fun last year. I went there, claimed they won the title there, and it was so much fun. That venue was great, and I expect a lot more from that. It's a fun thing, and I just do a crazy trip. I fly out Tuesday night, and I'm back Thursday morning and going to football Thursday night. So
wow, awesome. Well, that's cool. I guess you'll have to tell us all about it when we catch up the next time we're on. So should be.
We all 5 need to go to Winter is Coming this year. 3 of us went last year. We all 5 need to go this year.
We need a off the ropes road trip.
Okay. Hey, I'm off on weekends.
Matt, Jeremy, and I were all there last year. We all 5 need to go.
Kyle, we were left.
On Wednesday. It's on a Wednesday.
It's usually the Wednesday before state championships, like the 6A games are happening at the same time.
I won't be busy then. We'll be good.
All right. So we'll have some shows coming up here in the next couple of weeks. We'll have probably have an all-in preview and then an all-in review with a Payback All Out preview. Man, that could be
I think we're gonna have to split those up.
Just think, Brett, you could come to Winter is Coming. It'd be the closest you'll get to Arlington with any of your teams that you cover.
Man, that's rough. Hey, that's okay, man. It's okay. Kyle, which team are you got one that you're gonna say that's gonna beat one of Matt's teams now? You've had some chance.
Nope. I'm staying out of this whole conversation. I say 4A and below. Good
news. If you like 4A Texas high school football, we'll have a show on Wednesday night. 3 of us will be on. We're going to let Matt take the night off there. As in 4A, Dallas doesn't really compete in 4A, so they're big boys. They don't really have anybody competing in 4A. So we'll keep Matt. He can
because Salina and Anna, those are
and that's got a wide range for DFW. So
Just we don't
Yeah, he's like, oh well, they're good. We'll add them in DFW area. That's okay. We'll
literally in the DFW district. I mean,
I wasn't talking about them specifically. It's that you count Longview and Malakoff as DFW sometimes.
Oh,
Malakoff is literally in the DFW as defined by
Malakoff.
DFW.
Well, Malakoff is like it could be either one. It's on the edge there.
But Longview's East Texas. You can't have Longview.
Yeah, that's for sure. He just wants Longview because they're good. So
that's ours. I will say, with my limited 5A knowledge in football, I'm taking South Oak Cliff to win it all.
Oh, well, he's trying to earn some brownie points.
Going on a big one with a 2-time champion there, Kyle. I like it.
I hope not.
Are you going to tell us you like
me?
Duncanville and DeSoto?
I look forward to having Matt start making some picks against us to try to sit over here in East Texas, see if he can.
I'm going to tune into the 4A show so Kyle can say, you know what, Carthage, that's a really good team right there.
Well, they're going to win it all, obviously. I mean,
oh man,
that's Scott Surratt. He's a genius.
Look, I am the John Madden of this podcast. I will say the most obvious things. All right.
Well, let me talk to you, fellas. It's been a good time tonight here on the Disrespect Sports Network. Off the Ropes, episode 14. Can't believe we've already done 14 episodes. It's been a lot of fun. Missed you tonight, Jeremy. So hopefully you'll be able to tune in next time with us. For Off the Ropes, we talk SummerSlam tonight. Next pay-per-view coming up, AEW All Out. For Kyle, Matt, and Brandon, it's Brett. We'll catch you next time right here. Good night, everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talk to me.